Oh boy, it's going to be a very interesting episode. I have a lot to get off my chest. It is Mr. Young.
And it's foreign in the building, bro. Bro, my chest is ready to be projected upon by you
Ah,
because I know exactly what we're going to be talking about. And,
and
well, shout out to everyone who joined us because this is a special time of Monday. There's a reason why we did it a day earlier than our usual time slot. Again, this is pre-recorded. I know you guys don't like it when we pre-record, but there is a good reason why, right, Mr. Young?
yes, real life. But also, there are other reasons as well. So, okay, here's the thing, right? This past weekend, and we will talk about Grapplemax's Amplify event. A banger from what we've heard. Unfortunately, we couldn't be there because of personal real life commitments, right? But Dave Royalty, our OG, one of our lovely Patreons and a listener from way back when we started the podcast, she was there and she's going to join us later on in the show to give us a breakdown of what happened on Grapplemax's Amplify, right? So we got to chat with her on Sunday as we record this about that.
Yes. Correct. And you know what the best part is as well,
Mm.
even though we weren't there, we have our patrons on the ground. We have our intern Saleh on the ground, and they
Yeah.
gave their whole review of the show. So it's even though we are not there, we are still aware what happened, and we are here to give you our thoughts.
We have eyes and ears everywhere. Ching, ching, ching. I don't know why I made it. I don't know why we made it so evil. That's supposed to be a good thing, right?
Bro, malam seram. Oh, sorry. Misteri jam 12. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That's the voice.
But yeah, so there's that we'll get to in just a bit. But also, we're going to talk about the WWE draft. And because as we record this, we didn't want to do an episode, we don't release it on our regular time on Tuesday because then the Monday draft would have happened already. And, we aren't going to get to catch the draft because this is a Sunday as we record this. So we're putting this out early on a Monday. Give us a bit of a 1 week break before we jump into WWE Backlash France.
Bro, it's from France.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pronounce the whole show like Backlash France.
Oh dear gosh.
Okay. But it is what it is, lah. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the Monday. If you're listening to this after the fact, then well, it doesn't make a difference, does it?
Yeah, of course it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I think we are trying to catch people at a good time. And what better time to talk about wrestling than right now? Because, bro, sometimes when things are cooking, like AEW, WWE puts on great shows, we're happy to talk about it. But I think we are even much more happy to talk about stuff when it goes down the drain.
Look, it's not. See, here's the thing. You make it sound like we want to see people fail. We
No,
don't.
we don't.
We don't. But it is so good to talk about. It's so interesting to talk about. And I guess, do you want to do this chronologically? Do you like? Okay,
Yeah, let's
first of
do
all,
it chronologically for sure.
First of all, before we do anything, we always have to say thank you to our sponsors, Mirage Advisory. Yo, they love pro wrestling as much as we love pro wrestling. So big shout out to them. Thank you so much for the support, being the sponsors of the show. Guys, do us a favor. Go drop them a follow. Show your support for them as they've shown to us as well. Mirage Advisory on Instagram. If you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, it's MIRAJ Advisory. They're the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
Yeah, man. Just like how WWE is part of a new era, here in Kick to the Gut Season 7, we are part of the Mirage Advisory era. And we want to show our support to people who love wrestling and want to support wrestling content like they do. So show your love back to them. Follow them on their Instagram. Tell them you came from us. And hey, Kick to the Gut, end of the year 2024, our award sessions, they might be involved as well. So let's keep this great partnership going, yeah?
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about wrestling. The wrestling that has happened, and for context, I always like to say this for context because, there might always be new listeners. Welcome. I have been watching AEW Dynamite, and this week, you know what? I take this job seriously. I even have notes.
God.
Let me pull up the notes here.
Wow.
It all started thanks to the stupid all-in footage. I was like, there's no way this is going to be a skit, right? And they actually showed it. So part of the bet that I made, I was like, if they show the actual footage, I will watch AEW Dynamite for a month. And here we are. This is week 3 of me watching AEW Dynamite, coming off Dynasty. Okay,
Yes.
And here's the thing. If you listen to or watch last week's episode, I was very high on AEW Dynasty because they put on banger matches. Yeah, there are some things you can nitpick about, but I think by and large, we came away from it very positive about AEW, right?
Yeah, both of us praised the event, and we also understood the formula to enjoy AEW is try not to watch too much of their weekly shows
Yes.
and just see their pay-per-views, right?
They are an indie show. They run it just like an indie show. For better or for worse, some people say, don't compare lah. That's fine. But then they shouldn't then complain and take shots. That's the other thing that aggravates me, because a lot of AEW defenders are like, we shouldn't compare. What is this tribalism? A lot of the times, do you notice that it's AEW themselves taking shots?
No,
They are the ones bringing up the comparison by bringing up Cody for no reason, by bringing up Triple H. Like Tony Khan straight up went on television in an interview and called out WWE as being the Harvey Weinstein. And what? Like, dude, you're shooting yourself in the foot again. It's L after L after L from Tony Khan, from AEW. You know what it sounds like and feels like to me? When like a child has been told that they are wrong, and they get, instead of being apologetic and admitting they are wrong, they start defending themselves even more. They start doing even worse things and saying even dumber things to try to defend their position. It feels like that is where Tony Khan is at right now. He's never been told no his whole life. So now he's like, but WWE bad, WWE, Harvey Weinstein, AEW is the Pepsi Cola. No, you're not. Stop it.
Can we come to the conclusion and agreement that the thing that will destroy AEW, right, is literally Tony Khan?
Yeah, no, 100%. He has, okay, let me add a asterisk to that. Tony Khan and the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks are whispering in his ear. And from Dynamite, we can clearly see. Now, as much as I try to say, Tony Khan is the final boss, quote unquote, he has the final say, so it doesn't matter what influence the Young Bucks have, it's ultimately Tony Khan's fault. I say if you remove the Young Bucks and suddenly Arn Anderson, or back then CM Punk, was in Tony Khan's ear, this wouldn't be a problem. So I feel like it should be pointed out that the Young Bucks are just as culpable in this.
Yeah. I try to, try to see a balanced point of view. Like, I get, they're trying to move past this whole CM Punk situation.
They're not though.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. They're trying to, but they're going about this the wrong way. To me, the right way would have been the moment that thing happened, the next week, they put out an interview. Okay, this is what happened. We have to fire CM Punk. Now we're going to move on. We will not mention his name ever again. Like, do what, Chris Benoit, the situation,
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, just like, okay, fine. CM Punk did what he did. I make a decision. I'm going to fire CM Punk. Okay, make the company focus on other things. Go forward.
Yeah.
But now, they're trying to justify bringing up this story because they said, what? According to Tony Khan, now we need to kind of remind the viewers why Jack Perry hasn't appeared on AEW TV. That's why we have to use this footage. It helped with the storyline. But is it though? Like,
no,
really?
Okay, so let's try to give Tony Khan credit for where we think that his idea is. The reason they brought this footage out was to further this feud. Now that we've seen what we've seen, right? And it will get into the show itself proper in a bit. But the whole idea was to remind people of Jack Perry so that he could make his re-debut and then lead to this whole, angle, right?
Yep.
So there was a reason. Did this reason justify the whole show being around a bunch of mid-carders at best? No, see, that's the problem. That is the problem. If this had title implications with main event talent that could draw money, then fine. I have nothing to say. I get it. But it doesn't, and that is the problem. The problem is the Young Bucks and Tony Khan think that they are the big draw. They are not a draw at all. And time again, the numbers bear it out. Okay. Yeah. Dynasty. I don't know if you saw the numbers, the buy rates for Dynasty. I took a quick look. Normally, we don't really get into all the nitty-gritty stuff like that. But I took it. They sold like 120,000 buys or something, which is significantly low. Dynasty.
They dropped off from Revolution because Revolution did well because of Sting, right?
Yes. This one, they dropped low, even though it was a good pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
And you would think, okay, so maybe they had a banger of a show, word of mouth, people would watch the next Dynamite, right? Nope, that was not the case because we saw the numbers for Dynamite as well. 680,000.
Yeah. There's some caveats. They say that it's because they were going head-to-head with like NBA playoffs.
But that stuff every year they have to deal with, so don't use it as an excuse.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's literally the excuse that they use.
Yeah.
Why
they
it happened,
did.
right?
Yeah, but did you see the break? I haven't seen the breakdown. Like, segment by segment?
Oh no, I haven't yet as well. So
Okay.
I'm not too sure. I know the point they're trying to get is whether who was the one that caused
Turn
the
people
diff.
off.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. But at the end of the day, right, I get what you mean because right, okay, both of us agreed. Coming out of Dynasty, we had like, oh, okay, there's some
Yeah.
goodwill coming out from AEW. We
Mm.
wanted them to capitalize on to Dynamite. And I know a lot of people say like, hey, you guys keep complaining, AEW got no story. AEW got storylines. Well, okay, now this is an example of a storyline they're gonna give us. My issue is not that they are giving us storylines. My issue is they are giving terrible storylines. Secondly, they are miscasting a lot of their main players as the protagonists and antagonists of this storyline. We do not
Yeah.
want these people to be the story part of this big storyline. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
They are side characters at best. And why are they getting the big shine, right? So,
Yeah.
talking about that, and bear in mind, okay, the number, quote unquote, the number of the buy rate of Dynasty, 120, 130,000 versus a 680, let's just call it 700,000 viewership, right? So more people watch Dynamite than they watch Dynasty. So yeah, you crown your brand new champion, Swerve Strickland, right? And then you proceed to, on the next night, not showcase him at all. Not like, okay, you see, and then you're like, oh, but he got the big pay-per-view win. 120,000 versus 600,000. It doesn't matter how good you make Swerve look. If on the TV show you don't prop him out and show the world this is our new champion, look at, once again, we're going to compare, but look at what the first thing WWE did after Cody's big win. They parade him out there. He's the first thing. He gets the promo. He gets the celebration. He gets his flowers. He gets his moment. He gets a 45-minute segment to kick off Raw. No commercials with The Rock.
Yeah. But essentially, he got the Rock's rub. He got the WrestleMania rub. He got, remember the promo, the package that WWE did for him?
Oh.
Triple H, crying and hugging him.
Yeah. They showcase their champion. Instead, on Dynamite, what do we have right at the start? We have the Elite. They are in the parking lot, walking, coming out with Jack Perry. The audio was scuffed, so that's the other thing. The presentation was shit.
Yeah. They had terrible audio issues on this episode, right?
I'm like, what am I? As I watch this, I'm like, what am I watching? What is this low rent, low quality? Like, for some reason, right? After how many years, they still can't fix this shit? You know? And meanwhile, WWE is doing amazing things with presentation. They're not even second place. Don't even talk about second place. NXT is in second place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The presentation was so bad, first of all, right? And then, right after you have the Elite with their scuffed audio, thinking that they're the, big shit, you have the best friends. The technical first segment of the show is best friends. Like, what the hell?
This was the most weirdly booked show from AEW like in a long time. Like, I mean, we've criticized a lot of their Dynamites, right? But this one, top to bottom, there was no rhyme or reason.
There was no redemption to this show whatsoever. Coming off an incredible pay-per-view, which is what boggles the mind, right? Like, you're like, okay, I'm sure they, like, a lot of goodwill after, Danielson versus Ospreay, great match, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like, why are you not capitalizing on that goodwill? Why are you putting childish skit nonsense? They're breaking up. I don't like you. You don't like the best friends? Really? Okay, forget about that. After 20 minutes later, then you get Swerve Strickland versus Kyle Fletcher. Look, Swerve is over. The crowd loves him. You had a mini package of his title win, but it was just a very standard package. It wasn't the emotional, like you talk about the Cody one, right? There was no real big fanfare. 20 minutes into the show, then you parade your your main AEW champion.
Yep.
And he's in a match with a guy nobody knows who also is parading around with a title. So it's like, you know what I mean? And he didn't squash him. They had a competitive match. So immediately you're like, what are you doing with the presentation of your world champion?
I would argue he shouldn't even wrestle at all this week.
No, have Nana come out, dance, cheer, celebrate, have confetti. That should have been the first segment already, honestly.
Yeah.
F the Elite, F the best friends. That should have been what kicks off your show. Immediately get the momentum off the Big Bang and show us your new champion. Parade him. Be proud of him. But no, he gets buried into the third segment.
Correct. And if you wanted to start things off hot, right? They could have easily done, Swerve coming out, big celebration, confetti, and then suddenly Samoa Joe come out, right? Samoa Joe is like, oh shit, are they gonna continue the rivalry? But then
Yeah.
Samoa Joe shakes his hand as like, you guys, you deserve to beat me. He walks away. This could be the perfect opportunity to introduce a new challenger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Further
Get the
the
ball rolling.
storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, get the ball rolling.
Instead, we got a competitive match. You make Kyle Fletcher look good for whatever reason. Nobody knows who he is anyway, unless you're hardcore, right? And that's it. In the middle of the match too. They have the picture-in-picture of Elite going to Tony Khan's office. It's like, this is not the storyline people are. Like, they really believe. See, this is going back to the whole Tony Khan and Young Bucks. They are all culpable. They believe they are the protagonists of this show.
Yeah, they are not the bloodline.
No, nobody gives a shit about them, right?
Yeah. I tell you, all their storylines are based on people not liking them, as people. Not because they don't like their characters or they did something dastardly. They are just taking people's real life hatred for them and just using it as, okay, now this is the reason why this should be the main angle of the show. Doesn't work like that.
They are not over. They are literally catering to the internet crowd. The internet doesn't like them. Okay, we are the biggest heels. No, you're not. The average viewer who watches, like, who are these jabronis walking into Tony Khan's office? Like, so I mean, at this point, I was like, watching the match, I'm like, fuck the Young Bucks for taking away Swerve's shine. Honestly,
Yeah.
like we gave them all the credit for the show that they put on Dynasty, but then on the show that actually matters, where 700,000 people watch, they shit the bed by making their champion look like just another guy.
You know what? Who else shit the bed in this scenario?
Who?
Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's booking on this show. You just came off so-called the greatest AEW match ever, or 5-star, 6.5-star match, right? So you do not want to feature Bryan Danielson fight, right?
Yeah.
Parade out Will Ospreay, right? Why Will Ospreay? The next thing we see him in is in a gauntlet match for a international championship.
Bro, we haven't gotten there yet. You buried the lead, but we haven't gotten there. We did get a package. We did get a. So see, here's the thing. We got we just show you a package. It was an okay package. It wasn't a great package. You know what I mean? It's not the Cody package. There's levels to this game, right? So we got a package. We still have a Mina Shirakawa versus Anna Jay match shoved in between. So traditionally, and whether you like that shit or not, whatever, I'm all for women's wrestling, but it has shown time and time again, every time they put on a women's match, their women's division drops ratings.
Exactly.
So even before you parade out Ospreay, who is, I'm next to Swerve, he's probably the next top face, right?
Yeah.
You put on a Mira Shirakawa versus Anna Jay, and then it was a clusterfuck of an afterbirth after that match as well. There was the whole Anna Jay beats up Mariah May, and then Toni Storm comes out to make the save, and then Serena Deeb comes out. So they're obviously trying to set up something, but it was just a massive clusterfuck, right? And what follows that? The AEW Women's Champion. Wait, sorry. Toni Storm
TBS.
was the TBS champion.
Yeah,
So they literally put two, like the whole division of people nobody cares about, they put it right next to each other, back to back. Yeah. So you got the TBS champion, and I will say this, I like Willow Nightingale on the mic. I think she was better than Sasha Banks, better than Monet.
I was surprised. I actually thought she cut a really good fire promo. Sorry, just to talk about Tony Talk really quickly, right? She came out to make the save for Mariah May. Do you hear how questionable this statement sounds? Why is your heel making the save?
Yeah, for her lackey,
partner,
I guess?
Yeah, her lackey. No, that doesn't make sense. It should be the other way around. It should be them beating up on NRJ and then Serena Deeb making the save. Whatever it is.
No, and the great logic doesn't end there, okay? So you got the whole Willow Nightingale celebration in the ring. Should have been freaking Swerve getting a celebration, but whatever. And then, of course, Monet. And once again, why is Mercedes Moné their big signing? Their money signing. Big celebrity. Going after a B title, who the hell knows? This whole angle seemed like a skit. Everything, actually, every angle on this show felt like a cheap parody skit.
Yeah, you know why it felt like a skit? You had people like Stokely Hathaway, Chris Statlander just standing there, overacting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the whole, just let them go out, do their thing. Sometimes people need to be produced. And in this case, it just felt like you know what it felt like? It felt like improv theater.
Yeah. There was some good points that they tried to make, right? Because Wheeler was questioning, are you gunning for me because you are like bitter that I make you injured, right?
Yep.
Those were fair points. And like, I like that when Mercedes say like, yes, I admit it. Of course you took that away from me, blah, blah, blah. Those are points that I thought that if they can hit the landing on getting that points across, just kept it like that, that's fine. And then they can kind of so-called tease that heel turn.
Yes.
There was just too much gaga all around them for me to care.
Yeah, and like I said, why are you putting two women's segments next to each other and they're all involving a championship, which is part of another big problem, which we'll get to in just a bit, right?
Yeah.
But there's that. Okay, then they go to a backstage angle with Alex Marvez, the most charismatic backstage guy ever. And the Young Bucks, is Jack Perry reinstated? Once again, it felt like a shit SNL, not even like I'm insulting SNL. It felt like a parody of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Skit.
It was so hard. And I didn't even watch it full. Like, I tried to. I just kept skipping to the point that I know what, I'm just going to watch replays on YouTube.
I watched the whole thing and I wrote notes, okay? I am committed to my job here. It's not even a job. What we do here on Kick to the Gut. I'm committed. Okay, next.
Good for you. Go for it.
We have the most WTF are you doing thing in the International Championship Sudden Death Gauntlet match.
Wow.
First of all,
that's the point I was trying to make. What's up with this match?
So you're telling me the rules it's like Royal Rumble, so people will continually come out, right? The first person to pick up a pinfall ends the match, wins. So the people who come out later, they sway lah. What kind of stupid, like what? And why do you have such a complicated match out of the blue with no explanation? At points, did you notice that the commentators were like, okay, we don't really know what's going, like they literally, Taz and Tony Schiavone sounded like they had no idea what this match was about. They literally have no idea. Like, did Tony Khan book this 5 minutes before? Like, what is going on?
There's no communication, there's no flow, there's no seamless. And also, mind you, the first hour had all these audio issues as well.
Yeah.
So it was just a tough watch in general. And again, I go back to my main point, right? Why do you put Will Ospreay in this match? Like, to me, the International Championship is beneath him.
Yeah.
I know people will argue, no lah, at least you see we are building them up, we're making them go for the mid-card titles for establish them. Bro, this is not even a mid-card title. This is like a lower 24/7 championship title, man.
He and Will Ospreay should be in the main event scene. Like,
Already,
who, like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson just gave him the match of his career and he's riding the highest of highs. Why are you putting him in a mid-card match?
Why would we want to see him versus Roderick Strong? Like,
and no, that's exactly it, right? It's like, will they put up a banger of a match? I'm sure. But you're right. The title is beneath him.
Bro, Barry in all of this is Kyle O'Reilly, who just came back after a year away to do nothing, to just do this forever match.
And here's the problem with this match as well. You know what made Will Ospreay so good in the match with Daniel Bryan?
Bryan Danielson.
Daniel Bryan. I keep going to call him Bryan Danielson. Was Bryan Danielson making him wrestle a sound match? It was Daniel Bryan. Right? Here, he's hanging out with all his friends with the worst. We talked about this before. The flippy shit bad habits. So essentially, he'll go in. Oh, it's Penta. They'll do some flippy shit. Oh, it's Dante Martin. Do flippy shit. You know? So it was just a mess of a match. Like, the match literally was just people after people. Lance Archer, Commander, Jay Lethal. What the hell happened to Jay Lethal? Poor guy. Right? So, yeah, you got Will Ospreay wins. Great.
Forever lah.
Like nobody, like it was. Okay.
It's just bad follow up. It's just bad follow up from a great pay-per-view that they should have totally taken advantage of.
Bro, imagine if instead of just shitting out this match out of nowhere, they built it up somehow. If they had some sort of authority figure say, I have a match, or we are going to figure out who the number one contender is. And then every single week leading up to the finals, which is the actual gauntlet match itself, they could have people trying to qualify for better numbers. Because the earlier you come out, the more chance you have to win, correct? Like those people who come out at the end, they could actually be out of the match before they even come in. They could have made this into a thing.
Well,
You know what I mean? They could have stretched this out. They could have explained it along the way. So when it actually happens, people are like, okay, I get it. You know, these guys have been fighting for, the number one spot to get into the match already. At least they could have made it something interesting. I get where they're going with it, but just shitting it out there with the commentators not even knowing what the fuck this match is, I was like, what are you even doing?
you saw what I put on Discord, right? When there was this discussion between Bully Ray and Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
On what makes a great booker. And just for context, I'm gonna tell everyone here, right? I think Bully Ray say, the only way you can become a great booker is if you sit under the learning tree of another great booker, right? For you, Eric, who do you sit under? Oh, Verganya. Okay, cool. Paul Heyman sat under the learning tree of Dusty Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
Which great learning tree did Tony Khan set under? Huh? And then, without missing a bit, Eric Bischoff say, Dave Meltzer.
Dude, and it is an indictment of is exactly what is happening. This is, you know what? I would book this kind of shit in WWE 2K24, in GM mode. Oh yeah, put on a fucking Royal Rumble in the middle of a Raw.
Yeah. And what's the best so-called summary of Tony Khan as a booker? Right? I really think he is a great matchmaker, but different from being a great booker.
And bro, anybody can be a matchmaker.
Oh,
Bless you.
I'm
Anybody,
blessed.
anybody can put Daniel Bryan versus Will Ospreay. But how are you going to tell the story before?
Yeah, I don't care about that match because you know what? A lot of people can say, WrestleMania, I'm going to Rock and Roman. But if the story leading up to it was shit, that's why nobody accepted it. Pivot.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's why this episode was just, this is bad booking after bad booking. Okay, then we got my guy, Chris Jericho.
His name made me sneeze.
Who comes out, Chris Jericho, the learning tree, by the way, another champion. The FTW champion. Interrupted by Big Bill, who seemingly joins him. So is the learning tree going to be So we got learning tree, we had the JAS, we had, what else before that? The one where he wore all the spiky shit. Before JAS was...
The Ocho...
No, I'm talking about his factions. It was...
Inner Circle.
Inner Circle.
Yes, Inner Circle.
Is this another faction? The learning tree faction?
You see, he's taking people's comments on him online and turning it into a storyline.
Wrestling Vortex, yeah.
But for me, he should have taken the comments online and say it as a sign to go away from it. He's taking it the wrong way.
Is he becoming one of those old guys who refuse to listen to reason? Like, you know how certain old people, right, they will
I know
double
better
down.
than you. I know better than you.
They will literally double down when you are telling them that they are wrong.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't even get me started, man. I tell you I'm not gonna talk about my own life, but usually I feel like I think older people, they feel that because they've gone through the experience, they're like, I know better, I know how this is gonna end, blah blah blah.
It's a calcification of the mind, right? They have a mindset, they're stuck to it, and the older they get, the less they want to listen to other people. And the more defensive they get when they are being told that they are wrong.
Yeah, and they're less open to being open-minded to other points of view. Right?
I think we all have that person in our lives. This is just a life thing, and I feel like Chris Jericho has become that guy. It's like, you want to call me Wrestling Vortex? Okay, I make it my gimmick. It's like, oh, gee.
Oh, yeah, well, you make fun of me. Okay, fine, I'm going to copyright everything that you say. Like,
you're
missing the point. You're missing the point. Like, the point is, I feel that you are overexposed as a character. You've been on TV too much. There's no interesting storylines at this point in time. Even though he can say, I'm going to make this an interesting story. Now it's going to be an interesting story. But no, your value as a main event star has diminished year on year. Like diminishing returns. Yep. Go away, refresh your character. Those are fair points. No Vince McMahon is going to be there to tell him. That's a problem.
Yeah. You got Ospreay. There's a backstage interview. So Don Callis is scolding him for not using the Tiger Driver. So there was a moment in the Gauntlet match where he was like, he's going to do the Tiger Driver. But then he stopped, right?
Yeah.
So I guess this is the story where they are going with this whole thing of, he's going to hold himself back, and then this is how he breaks away from Don Callis, because Don Callis is scolding him for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's weird because Kyle Fletcher is standing there like agreeing with Ospreay. Isn't Kyle a heel? So it's this whole thing is just...
Kyle is a heel, but Kyle is like a known best friends with Ospreay. So
it's still a...
whatever.
it's known to the internet... wrestling crowd. It's not known to the random like viewer. And he's there standing there holding a title. Everybody has a goddamn belt. You know?
Yeah. There's just too many issues. And bro, you never even talk about who actually turned up to interrupt Chris Jericho. There's a storyline development there, remember?
Who? Big Bill?
Yeah, Big Bill.
Yeah,
Big Bill.
we mentioned Big Bill is going to be in his learning tree. I don't really care. Big Bill, Ricky Starks, I don't know where he is.
Yeah. You know who I care about? I care about who going to NXT, getting his shit together there. That's what I care about.
Taz is probably like, okay, I think you better leave. Hey, this place is a shit show. I'll just sit here and collect my paycheck. You go first.
Yeah, go do your thing. Yeah.
Let's talk about the main event. Moxley versus Hobbs for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, right off the bat, I want to say this. Every segment had a champion. Literally every segment had a champion. So all the titles mean nothing.
Yeah.
You didn't highlight Swerve. This was the main event of the night. People are going to think that's your world championship. That's the most important world championship. So you went from Swerve having his grand moment in front of, however many people and a pay-per-view audience of 120,000 people to a show where you have 700,000 people watching and you're telling everybody, oh, the IWGP championship is more important. Do you see the problem here?
If somebody used to say, I think it was I don't know if it's Eric Bischoff or Cornette, but I was just listening, and then he say, if Hulk Hogan in the 80s, he is the world champion, right?
Yeah.
If suddenly Vince McMahon come to him and say, hey bro, Antonio Inoki say he's gonna bring the IWGP championship to the main show on like
Raw.
Saturday night main event or what, from the era. The first thing as a top star, Hulk Hogan is gonna say, so when am I going to win this?
Yeah. Okay, we joke about it in that, it's like, selfish thing, it's Hulk Hogan things, right? But if you think about it from a business perspective, from a perception perspective, of course, why would you make your company look smaller than another company? Your company needs to be the world championship.
Yeah. If Roman Reigns is the top star with holding the world title, then suddenly he doesn't appear on the show. He appears on the third segment.
Yep.
And then Nick Aldis say, oh, by the way, the IWGP champion is going to headline SmackDown tonight in a random match.
Yeah.
How do you think Roman Reigns will feel? Not just his character, but him as a wrestler, he as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my spot.
Yeah. And not only that, it's also like, what does it say to the mass audience at large? People who aren't so well dialed into this, they'll say, oh, okay, well, I guess this Swerve doesn't mean that much. He could barely beat that other guy we don't even know who, Kyle.
Can you be really honest? Like, do you even know John Moxley was challenging Naito for the WGP Championship?
No, I did not. I don't. And New Japan is doing its worst numbers in history right now. So even that title is not that important anymore.
You gutted New Japan. You brought all their top stars to AEW. Why do they come across worse off than in New Japan? Because New Japan, I tell you, their presentation is so much better of all these wrestlers. Yeah. Even though, yes, they got storyline issues, they don't cater to American audiences, but
it's fine.
They feel like a bigger deal there.
They do. Yeah, it's all about the presentation because you have two little pricks in the ear of the final boss, the big guy, right, Tony, telling him what is the most important.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
These side characters are getting the most shine. So you have the match. It was a whatever match. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It was just like, At this point, I was already damn turned. Honestly, bro, it was hard to get through that match because I was completely turned off by the booking, by this entire show. I was, in this point, forcing myself to watch. Because A, I know what happens at the end, and B, I made the bet last, so whatever.
Did you feel bad about Will Hobbs? Do you still feel that he does have potential?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
He needs to go to NXT or just leave this company because, he does have the potential. But he... and you know how he lost, right?
No, I didn't bother to watch that.
Oh, okay. He lost to a quote-unquote, a rear naked choke because, John Moxley is all about the death jitsu, a sleeper hold. He lost to a sleeper hold.
He passed out lah.
Yeah. And...
Okay.
Didn't John Moxley get choked out at some amateur jiu-jitsu tournament?
Yeah, he did.
Jesus. So it's like, how... So you just made Will Hobbs, this big hoss of a guy you could present as a threat, right? Lose to John Moxley, who a couple of months ago, lost to some average Joe in a jiu-jitsu. Like, do you see the problem with the optics here? First of all, if the WWE would never let Roman Reigns go and take part in a jiu-jitsu tournament. Because if you lose, you look bad on us.
Yep.
You know?
It's like how Vince McMahon say, you want to go take part in the world's strongest tournament.
You better win.
Strongman, you better win. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come back and be like, okay, second maybe not bad. You know, but
I'm not gonna promote the second most strongest man in the world, you know what I mean?
I want the world's strongest man, right? Yeah. So it's exactly that. So it's like, wow. Like, it's just terrible booking. And then you have the main event, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you have Jack Perry coming out to no music, which is very sad. Because the one thing that could have saved it was Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. It should have been Cry Me a River,
but no, okay. Cry Me
not
a
enough
River.
money, I guess.
Yeah.
Not enough money.
There were Cry Me a River chants. He got cheered in Well, I guess because Jacksonville is the home base, so they are gonna cheer, which is another thing that doesn't make sense because now these guys are supposed to be a heel faction and they're getting cheered.
Well, right? they started off getting cheered maybe because there are AEW, loyalists who, are side with the elite and care about Jack Perry. But I do agree that would have made them be completely miscasted as baby faces.
Yeah.
So I don't dispute the so-called their idea to turn all of them heel, this elite as a heel, and make Tony Khan a baby face though. That's the only thing that's like,
okay. So let's get through what happens, right?
Yeah.
Jack Perry cuts an alright promo. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great, right? Tony Khan, he asked Tony Khan to come out into the ring. I love AEW. Everything I've done is to make AEW great. And he got Tony Khan. How awkward is Tony Khan out there, bro?
He can't act, bro. He can't. He shouldn't even be in the ring.
I get that this is not his thing, right? He's a booker. He should stay a booker. Or actually, no, he shouldn't stay as the booker. He should stay backstage.
Yeah.
If you want to do a storyline with an authority figure, get a fake authority figure. Get a Nick Aldis or someone, whoever lah. You know what I mean? Like who can act, who can work, right?
And he has clearly stated years ago, he put it in an interview, he said, I will never become a TV character in my show.
Bro, he's going to have his first match in about two months. You just watch. You just freaking watch, bro. It's Tony Khan.
He can't help himself.
And then he's going to win a title in 5 months.
He's going to be the AEW World Champion. Mark my words.
Fuck Sir Strickland, bro. Fuck him. Tony Khan is the champ. Okay, so Jack Perry he punches him in the gut. It would have been better if he kicked him in the gut, but that's whatever. And then, okay, I shouldn't be making fun because I took a front bump of a spear. So I am not the person to criticize somebody taking a bump. But what happens when someone punches you in the gut?
Bro, you do not fly off like you kena shot in the face, It's not a gunshot.
You double over forward, drop to your knees maybe to sell it, right? Yeah. This idiot does a back bump. Like, what? Boom. I learned how to do a back bump. Let me show you. Boom. He does a back bump, right?
You know what's the best part? The best part is, right, after he fell down, planted, took him 2 seconds, then he react on the ground.
I have to sell. Oh, wow. This is... And once again, he is not a trained professional, so you can't expect him to do it well. And why are you doing this as, quote-unquote, the main event? The big finish, the big angle. This is a side quest at best, right?
Yeah.
So the elite come out, they do the whole, no, don't do it. They tease the what they get, EVP trigger, right?
Yeah, like, EVP trigger.
But what's his face? The fake Cody.
Okada
comes out and says, no, don't do it. He does the thumbs up thing, Then they do the indie taker or do they call it the Tony Khan driver now?
Now they call it the TK driver, yeah.
TK driver, whatever. It just looked like a parody of wrestling. Like if you wanted to parody wrestling, this is what it would look like. And
it just hokey, bro. Damn hokey.
And Tony Khan is not some beloved backstage. It's not like if they did this to William Regal, then they would be over his heels, right? Like imagine if it was William Regal, but no, it's Tony Khan, and it was just like
he's very self-unaware. He thinks that people will sympathize with him.
Yeah.
Really?
So then again, like you look at this as an angle. Where do you think this is going? So the AEW loyalists will love that happen. But the general audience don't really give a flying F about Tony Khan or the Young Bucks. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a wet fart.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's the most intriguing thing about this whole thing?
Mm.
In my opinion? Bro, the first appearance in AEW for Shahid Khan. No, that to me that was the most interesting. You know why?
Why?
Because right, out of everyone, right, Shahid Khan looks the most like a wrestling character. With the twirly mustache, look like Iron Sheik, with the rich man's clothes.
No,
Like-
bro. He came out, he was like, what the are you doing? Get your shit together.
yeah. He come out like, hey son, why you embarrass me on national TV again?
Yeah.
Why you die again?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Like, they're trying to pretend to be main event stars when they're not main. This is not Vince Austin. This is not NWO Eric Bischoff. You know what I mean? This is like, I know some people have tried to compare it to that stuff. It is not. It is absolutely not. This would be like freaking Hardcore Holly versus Vince McMahon. You know? They would be like Disco Inferno starting a feud with Eric Bischoff. Like,
You know for a fact they're gonna like, okay, now TK is gonna assemble his own Avengers. He's gonna have people like, fight on his
Kenny,
behalf.
FTR, yeah.
Probably Kenny, etc. Like, fine. Maybe this could set the stage for MJF to return, but I don't really want it. I want MJF to go to WWE. But again, they are just not. They are not up for it. Vince McMahon, when he was forced into the position of becoming a TV character, he stepped up. We know he can, emote, can cut promos.
Yeah.
We've never seen TK cut a promo where he comes across as menacing, sympathetic, anything.
Nope. He's not the role. He doesn't look the role, sound the role, play the role. Hey, Scully, 2 months later, he comes back jacked to the gills. Can you imagine?
No,
he gets on some like incredible, supplements, personal trainer, all.
Super serum, is it?
Yeah, super soldier serum. Suddenly, he come back look like freaking Brian Cage.
Bro, look at this, right? You have young bucks who are, they are not over. Every time they are on the show, their segment loses viewers, right?
Bro, they are the touch of death.
Yeah. And they have totally ruined Okada for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, Okada he just looks like some dude who doesn't know what he's doing standing behind them. He looks completely out of place and completely wasted. Yes.
Yeah. And then you have Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who, to be really honest, had great heat coming out from, the drama and all that kind of stuff. I am willing to wait to see how they're going to utilize Jungle Boy. But to me, right, TK chose the wrong horse to back.
Yep. No, because his EVPs are in his ear. Like, we've talked about so much about like, there are certain people in camps, blah, blah, blah. It has played out exactly the way CM Punk has described it. Like, it is right out there for all of us to see. There are certain people who are in positions that they are and getting the biggest pushes because they have his ear and they are his friends.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
Just because they started, AEW per se, like they were like the core group, right? Doesn't mean they are equipped to be, the EVPs. They should have been like what Kenny Omega said, I'm just EVP by name.
Yep.
But if this was TK's company all along, let TK establish that. And then like you guys just be wrestlers lah.
Yeah. They can't. Because they want their little independent circus show to keep going on. Because they are invested. They love his money. They love what he's paying them. And they love the attention. See, that's the other thing, right? Like, if they were smart about it, they would, like, rub shoulders with Tony Khan, be his best friends, but also let the wrestling, those who want to freaking make the company grow, actually let them do their work. This is just childish, like protecting their rice bowl sort of behavior.
Yeah, I mean, they literally wrote a book called Killing the Business, and we are seeing it, unfortunately, right? To me, the only way AEW can improve, to be really, really honest, remove TK. Somebody gave, I think Baba Ray also gave in that same podcast, said, right, who would you ask gun to the head should be the booker of AEW? And you know who he said, and I thought it was perfect.
Who?
Make Dustin Rhodes the booker of AEW. Yeah. Because Dustin Rhodes sat under Dusty Rhodes Learning Tree.
Yeah.
He understands great story. We all know his storytelling is great. He had the best storytelling match with Cody Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
He's already a trainer there. He has the respect of like the young and old wrestlers in AEW. And here's the hidden sauce. He has worked in WWE. He understands what makes a star. He understands character. Can you imagine Dustin Rhodes being the Triple H role?
I can.
He could be he'll be a great. So he can be the booker, helps with
Yep.
the day-to-day storylines. Tony Khan can be, you know what? For Forbidden Door, I want Bryan Danielson and Okada. That's gonna be my
Yep.
stuff. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
them do that.
That's a great no. That sounds. But you see, that will never happen because Tony Khan wants to play with his toys, and now he's part of the freaking storyline. Now he's involved. You know.
Tony Khan wants AEW to be synonymous with his name. Like, I want to be known as the guy who made AEW possible. It's fine if you want to be like that, but if you are a true businessman, you also will see, hey, am I a detriment to my own company or not?
He's not though. I think he's proven that he's not a true businessman. And then, okay, so moving on from this parody of a wrestling show, right? We get that the NFL is following him around, so maybe this is his whole ploy to get more eyeballs on the product. So he's going to show up at the draft with a neck brace on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw the clips, I'm sure you did. Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee didn't say it. One of his other co-hosts said it, right? If you are going to sell this whole thing, do the kayfabe thing, right? Then don't fucking turn your head around like this in a neck brace.
Oh my god, that was the worst.
Right?
That was terrible.
It's his. Nobody told him. It's like, oh look, I'm gonna wear the neck brace. I'm gonna promote my AEW. But then you're not like the classic example. We all remember Bobby Heenan. There was a period in time where he was wearing a neck brace, and he would literally like he can't move his neck. That's the point of a neck brace. You can't move your neck. Don't be in a neck brace and turn head and smile ha, while you are in your draft. Like what the fuck?
He didn't even sell the neck brace. That means he totally made the entire angle feel hokey. He was smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Like it didn't hurt him. Like he literally just wore it for the sake of so the internet fan can say, wow, he's selling kayfabe. You know?
Bro, there is a difference. Okay, there is a difference, and it's. That's why this entire episode and what he's done subsequently has just been this. It's been a parody of pro wrestling, and it's just made pro wrestling look worse and worse. Like, you have WWE doing great things over there, and you have AEW dragging the whole fucking industry down. Even TNA is doing better things than him.
Yeah.
Right
And now. People want to complain like, even WWE misses WWE.
Yeah.
Why suddenly you got Cody Rhodes and Carmelo Hayes so random, no storyline, no build. To me, right, like if you want to just complain in the context of that doesn't make sense. That's fine. But to compare it to like, even though AEW does this, WWE also does this, what? No, that's completely different, bro.
Yeah.
AEW shit show, right, is literally a terrible shit show of their own making. If anyone who denies it or thinks like, no lah, we're just being too harsh or we're being biased, you are not listening to like common sense. Like you like bro, I'm an AEW fan. I really want AEW to succeed.
Dude, we shouldn't have to qualify that. We should. I know where you're going with it, but I feel like we constantly have to say that, we actually want them to succeed. That's why we are so upset about it. Because I'll tell you what, right? If we didn't really want them to succeed, we wouldn't even be watching this shit. We wouldn't even care about like how they can get better, you know?
We wouldn't give them a platform to talk about the show.
Exactly. So, it's just an absolute shame they are shitting the bed lah. They are self-inflicted wound week after week, and the ratings bear it out as well. Yeah, sure, there's the NBA going on, but how long can you use the excuse,
Well, we shall see next week. I mean, technically, this coming week is your last time that you can need to watch AEW. So let me know whether it bounces back, whether they are going to bounce back from that. I really do not know.
Yeah, I guess so. The aftermath. Oh, they are in Winnipeg too. Very fitting, where I spent like 4 years of my life, uni life, in Winnipeg. The homeland of Chris Jericho, and Kenny Omega is making his return as well, so he might be figured into the whole Young Bucks situation, so we might get that started off.
Do you want to see Kenny Omega as the babyface fighting against his elite? Seems to be where that's going.
How many times have we seen this match? It's
you know what they need to do? They bring back Kota Ibushi. They can be Golden Lovers versus the Elite again. We can rewatch it again.
Or if FTR get involved, it's like FTR Young Bucks again. Like, there's nothing new. Like, what is going on?
You know what I should do? I mean, you know what they need to do? Bring Adam Copeland. I think Adam Copeland should go against the Young Bucks. At least people like Adam Copeland. People will like respect him.
I think Edge is smart enough to be like, okay, I don't want to be sucked into this. Elite
That's the only
bullshit.
way to salvage the situation because literally CM Punk was replaced by Adam Copeland to me in terms of stature,
Yeah.
in terms of name value.
Mm.
But you remember how well CM Punk was booked, and I'm pretty sure he might have booked a lot of it himself.
Oh yeah.
But
No. I think it's very well established that the booking, it's essentially whoever has his ear, whoever has Tony Khan's ear, gets booked the way they want to get booked.
yeah, let's move on from AEW. I think we said our piece, about this.
It was frustrating to watch because we know how well they did, the wrestlers, how well they did at Dynamite. And to have, right after that, the booking fail them. The company has failed these wrestlers.
DK can't help himself but make himself the main character in AEW when he shouldn't be.
No, once again, we go back to when he first started this shit. So, I don't want to insert myself. I'll never wrestle. I'll never be an on-screen character. I think it's all unraveling. And within the next 5 years, bro, it's going to fall apart. Actually, no, within the next year, whether they resign or not, and with ratings dropping lower and lower, it almost feels like he's hitting panic button. And he's doing bad decision after bad decision because he's panicking.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Like, the WD deal is off, right? There goes AEW. I think people, like, if they go to, like what TNA did, right? They went from Spike TV and they went to Destination America to some weird ass, like, channel that nobody cares about, pop or whatever. The moment they lose that national deal with Warner Brothers,
Habis.
They're gone.
Their value. Did you see there's this Forbes article that listed them at 2 billion, which is like, is Forbes magazine related to Tony Khan's empire somehow?
I know Forbes gives them a lot of coverage.
Yeah. So what is that? 2 billion? Are you sure? Well, not after the TV deal doesn't go through. So he better pray that these misfire after misfire after misfire doesn't screw up his deal. Because at this point, if you are a WD executive, right, and whether you love wrestling, I mean, if you love wrestling, then you have a leg up. But a lot of these executives, they don't even give a shit about wrestling. They're just looking at numbers and money and revenue. And if they look at Tony Khan, shitting the bed in terms of the ratings week after week, then they're kind of screwed.
Do you legitimately believe that AEW has a higher valuation than one championship at this point?
Okay, one championship is a completely different animal, and we won't go into that because there are a lot of it's a whole thing, lah, bro.
They have their own kind of work. But the point I'm trying to make is, right, I feel like in terms of visibility, like at least especially in this region, like definitely everyone in Asia knows one championship, right?
Yeah,
but
correct.
To be really, really honest with you, if you're a wrestling fan, like AEW is watched in where? America?
UK,
probably a bit of
UK.
UK. But do they have the reach? Like, does everyone in Asia know AEW? I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah, they are not a global company like WWE and TKO are, right? But that's besides the point. When it all falls apart, and then we'll see what the
and we'll be here for it to talk about it.
And once again, we are not here praying for AEW's downfall because we've always said this: competition breeds excellence. And the fact that they have a roster of people that we actually love seeing, people like your Bryan Danielsons, your Will Ospreays, being let down by just the worst booking ever. It's no. Okay. Woo! That was a lot, but we had to get it off our chest because god dang, man.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Hey, let's be fair. You said when people shit the bed and it's a miss, we call it out. I would love to call out SmackDown, bro.
Okay,
I would like to say, like, off the bat, right, how disappointed I was with the draft. Just my opinion.
So I haven't had the time to go and catch too much of it. I did see all the draft results. In fact, was this show more about the draft picks than it was about the wrestling? It felt like it.
It was in a bit. It was more about the draft for sure. But to me, the draft stung the joint because it's essentially the same wrestlers being picked back to the same shows.
So, okay, just to very quickly highlight, right? SmackDown gets Bianca, which is new. Because wait. Has Bianca been on SmackDown?
Bianca is in SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, with Jade and that group. Okay, so like what? Carmelo Hayes is the big one from NXT. And then he had a match with Cody, right? Which, okay, so some people are like, hey, why are you giving such a big shine to Carmelo? And there was this one weird thing where they both, like, rebounded off the ropes and missed each other. What was that?
No, so I think that was on purpose. People thought it was a botch, but I think that was exactly what they were trying to do.
Mm,
They weren't supposed to jump and then like bang into each other. I think
yeah.
they were just trying to go for each other's moves.
Oh, right. Like they were in each other's head. Like, oh, you're going for Cody Cutter. I'm going to go for whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you like that they booked Carmelo Hayes so strong, quote unquote, going toe to toe with their champion? So the point obviously was to instantly give Carmelo Hayes a rub, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think they wanted to highlight Carmelo, and I thought the match was well done in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I think the way Carmelo was highlighted, so now people know okay, he's a big deal. He's like whatever Braun Breaker was.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Carmelo. This for SmackDown.
Mm.
My only issue is I do agree to I think Gaddafi was the one that spoke to me saying that to him it was like a no storyline, no build. It was like a out of the blue, right?
Mm.
But I feel that the storyline will come if there is a follow up. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying that there is no storyline at this point. Yeah, there is no storyline. What's the point of him being presented this way? Is there a
To-
follow up?
No, oh yeah. So the point is to make him look good, right? Like his first outing is with the champion. It's like
Yes.
they tried lah. They tried with Karrion Cross. His first outing was with Roman
Jeff.
Reigns, but they just never followed. Oh wait, was it Jeff or Roman?
No. So that was the Vince McMahon one when he lost to
Oh.
Jeff Hardy. But when
Right,
he
right.
returned,
Yeah, it was Roman. So
Roman Reigns and Drew, remember?
yeah. So they tried like they tried. That one failed. But I see the point, but I also understand the criticism, and I also kind of agree in that way.
Yeah.
Randy Orton, SmackDown guy.
Yeah.
Nia Jax, nobody really cares.
Yeah, but went to SmackDown. So that is a so-called a big defection, perhaps. Maybe. Yeah.
LA Knight, SmackDown. He's always been on. Bloodline stays on the SmackDown, right?
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles, Andrade. Okay, so Andrade, but
Really, he's always been related to the LWO and all that shit. So he is makes sense going to SmackDown, right?
yeah, but it doesn't seem like a big move. So okay, going to Raw, Jey Uso, who's already on Raw. Seth Rollins already on Raw. Braun Breaker, I guess, is the big one.
But yeah, because he got signed by SmackDown and suddenly now he's on Raw.
Yeah.
So okay, fine.
Liv Morgan, they're trying to push her.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to be that guy, but I really do not see what they see in Liv Morgan. I don't. Maybe she sells a lot of merch. I don't know.
Bro, but her potential revenge tour and trying to get together with Dom, that is intriguing to me though.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean that will definitely set up a babyface return for Rhea Ripley, right? If he comes back and takes everything from her, including not just her
Dom.
title,
Yeah.
and Dom as well.
And then Dom gets even bigger boost because he like cheated on Mami, and Mami will come back even bigger and stronger and hotter.
Yeah,
than
and
before.
he has grown out his mustache, so he is literally Eddie Guerrero right now.
Latino heat. Okay.
Oh dear God.
Ricochet stays on Raw. Sheamus stays on Raw. Alpha Academy stays on Raw. Kiana James new to Raw from NXT.
Yeah. So this is the surprise. I think the surprise of the draft because like literally no one expected her to get called up. I do not have that much context of her because she's in NXT and I think she's a mid carder, right?
Yep. Correct.
So do you know anything about her? Can you give us any lowdown if she's good or not?
I've heard her name bandied around. Apparently, she is quite good. Well, maybe they think that she deserves. There are certain people who flourish on a bigger stage versus a smaller stage.
Yeah,
Wow,
like
it
you
is
know how like how
pouring. Bro,
like how,
it's pouring right here, right now.
bro.
By the way,
Bordeaux as well. I can hear it. So yeah, you remember how Alexa Bliss when she came onto the 2016 roster, right? Like
Yeah.
she didn't do much in NXT. She wasn't the champion in NXT, but she became one of the biggest stars on the
Yes.
WWE main roster.
she
so.
was just sort of the valet of
Murphy,
Murphy and the other fella who's
Blake and Murphy, right?
Blake and Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am reserving judgment as well on Kiana James, but no blockbuster, bro. No big defections, bro.
No, I mean there were Elba Fire, Isla Dawn, like Cedric Alexander, Ashanti, Adonis, Iva, Shayna Baszler, OC, Zoe Stark. But those are like your like after the fact sort of draft picks that nobody cares about on.
Yeah. Like honestly, if you really wanted to give an opportunity, right? I wouldn't mind LA Knight going to Raw, man.
Yeah.
Let him eventually go up to the world title level through Raw.
Yeah. I mean, okay, to be
yeah.
fair, they're still Raw. So there could be like, I don't know, Drew gets, sent over to SmackDown to start.
Yeah.
But then again,
Like I said on Discord, I would love Gunther to get drafted to SmackDown, and then you can start a feud with Cody.
there you go. I think that might be in the cards, actually. And that's why they broke up Imperium in a way.
Maybe. So,
And-
yeah. We
And
do not know.
the champs are immune to being drafted, right?
Correct.
So
the
which
thing
means
is,
Sami Zayn doesn't move, the tag team champions doesn't move.
the funny thing is Cody, right? Essentially was always been a Raw guy, but he moved by virtue of winning,
Championship.
defeating Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
So
That's fine. Whatever lah, you know.
Yeah.
And Damian Priest will hold the fort over there on Raw. Yeah, like I get what you're saying. It's a bit of a meh draft. They brought back a lot of old timers, legends for it.
I like the whole Baba Ray and Devon. I love JBL and Theodore Long. I mean Tori is my childhood crush, right? But like to me, no point of her coming there unless it was to announce a female draft.
Right.
So a bit some a bit random lah. Her and Michelle Bokos a bit random.
But okay, you can't have every episode be a banger episode, especially now we're coming off the post WrestleMania high.
It's supposed to be the lull period. We know this is the lull period.
Yeah, this is like the Ant-Man and the Quantumania after Endgame.
Yeah. Or like Far From Home. No, what's the one? Yeah, it's Far From Home, right? Remember they released Spider-Man Far From Home after Avengers?
Yeah. But Far From Home was really good.
Yeah, it was. But I'm not saying that it can't be good, whatever this whole period post WrestleMania, because we did see some, developments with, the Bloodline, because we saw, Randy Orton get involved. So that's gonna be fun. I'm interested to see that. But yeah, overall the draft didn't feel like a big deal, and I do hope this coming Raw they kind of step up there, because they really kind of need to step up there.
But then again, okay, just to come back to the whole idea of the draft, right? And people will bounce back and forth. Maybe they don't want to make this too big of a deal. You know what I mean? Because like people will, through some loophole, some contractual dispute, some bullshit, they can write people left and right anyway.
Yeah.
So to me, it's more of who from NXT is gonna get called up.
Yeah. I would love an NXT call up. Like, who do you think deserves to get that call up in your opinion?
Well, Ilya lah. So I'm gonna assume that Ilya gets called up on Raw.
Okay, Ilya is fine. I don't want Tony D'Angelo anywhere in the main roster, to be honest.
No. He can cook a little bit longer.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Baron Corbin coming back to the main roster, I think it's a big plus. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, he's on SmackDown, right?
Yeah. So he's done great work.
Separated from Braun Breaker, interestingly enough. So they're not going to revisit his whole,
Wolf Dog
thing. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, we'll have to wait and see if they do something crazy on Raw. But like you said, it just felt like just a regular episode.
Okay, you see the thing about WWE is, right, when it's not as good, or like it's boring. The criticism is it's boring, it's not that good. The criticism is it's a shit show. What the hell is Triple H thinking? Why is Triple H trying to make himself part of the story? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they generally don't shit the bed. They're generally like, a bad show is, okay, you know what? Like, I kind of compare it to? I compare it to like DC versus Marvel. Say what you want. Even the worst Marvel show is like at least a passing grade. Whereas the worst DC show is like, Suicide Squad, the first one. It was so bad, right? Or like, or Sony show, like Madam Web.
Oh my God.
They will fluctuate up and down. Like, you got good shows, but you got really like shit the bed shows. And that's, to me, the comparison. Like WWE, even their worst show got standard on.
So that's a question. Do you want boring, but you can expect certain quality? No. Or you want complete mayhem?
But here's the thing. It's no longer boring. Like, in the Vince McMahon era, yes, there's like, it's just the same old thing over and over again. But now with Triple H at the helm, right? It's like, it's passable or better. It's always in that range,
It's like supporting a championship winning team lah.
Yeah.
There will be off days, but usually they're good.
Yeah, the mean is higher than 50%.
Yeah.
For those, who get statistical terms.
It's not wildly inconsistent. I think AEW is wildly inconsistent.
And rarely now, especially on their television, forget about their pay-per-views, their television mostly is below the 50% mark in terms of like enjoyability and the rating show. The trend line shows, not just the rating. It's not just ratings because, a spike or drop because of football or whatever, basketball. It's continually going down. Every week affects the next week. Every time you put a shit show, the next week is going to suffer. And then I can't wait to see next week's.
My argument is, right, if people say, CM Punk is a cancer, CM Punk is the reason why the ratings, everything is so much better without CM Punk, right? Unless the Young Bucks segment pop a rating and show an increment. Unless Jack Perry's, future segments will hit over 1 million. unless any of the existing stars that Tony Khan choose to bet on, whether it's Okada, Will Ospreay, Mercedes Moné, pops the rating to make them a draw, then we can shut up about CM Punk. And like,
Yeah.
CM Punk is in the past. Now they have stars. They have other stars they can focus on.
But we've seen exactly how they treat their stars. We've seen them put Will Ospreay in some like random battle royal nonsense. Swerve Strickland in a match that nobody cares about. Like they cannot build stars because there are two people whispering in the boss's ear thinking that they are the protagonists. They are not. They are absolutely not.
They are not the main characters of this story, to be really honest.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Even the final boss, The Rock, came in and he was like, "Oh shit, let's pivot," and made Cody the main story. He brought a presence. It's quite an inescapable presence. And for a while, we were like, "Hey, is he dominating too much?" But ultimately, he laid down for them.
He did the right thing. Yeah.
He knew. Okay, he has a business sense, right? This is not my time to shine. Let Cody, let Seth shine. He gave them the props, They are all business-minded people. Tony, Bucks, they are just there living out their fantasies.
Yeah.
That's the difference right there.
Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, like, we'll still watch, we want to understand.
I have to for one more week.
Yeah, I don't have to, but I will still watch. For the love of wrestling, right? As the industry. But let's talk about one last thing that is like, that's coming up. I know time flies so much. There's so much content out there, but bro, Backlash from France.
From Lyon, France. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, Mirage Advisory. We love you guys for supporting us doing what we do, which is talking about wrestling, right? I know they love wrestling as well, and thanks for supporting us in our endeavor to spread the wrestling joy.
Yeah, man, they are the reason why we are getting paid to talk about wrestling, and that is the coolest thing ever, man. For a wrestling fan, when you grow up, you think to yourself like, what am I going to do with wrestling? And the fact that we are actually doing something out of it and, we are earning something is all thanks to them. So we are literally in the Mirage Advisory era. Show them some love, follow them and support them as well.
Absolutely. Drop by their social media page, their Instagram page, MIRAJ Advisory. Drop them a follow. Show them some love and support the way they've done for us as well. So let's talk about one last thing.
Yes.
Before, we have two last things. We have Grapplemax Amplify to talk about, and we'll get Div, who was there. She's one of our Patreons and an OG of the show as well. She's there since day one. We love her. She's going to be swinging by to talk to us about Amplify because she was there.
Yep. And can't wait to hear all her comments about the show. It sounded like a banger show. But before Grapplemax, we got to talk about the big one this weekend, WWE Backlash.
Yes, we have to go to Lyon, France, the LDLC Arena.
Okay.
For WWE Backlash. And quick plug for my Twitch channel as well, Mr. Young GG. I will be doing a live watch along once again.
Awesome.
I do believe it's like 12:30 midnight on a Sunday morning, so Saturday
this
night.
Sunday morning, yeah.
So it's going to be fun. Like, I'm definitely going to be up and streaming and we'll watch Backlash together, okay? Yes, it's going to be in France. We don't know what's going to happen on Raw yet, so, some matches might be changed. There might be new matches. But right now, I'm looking at the card. There are already 5 matches. And I think that's more than enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's well thought out, well planned, well paced out. Why not?
Well, coming off of what happened on SmackDown, we have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. The MFT? Do we even know what MFT means?
Not yet. They haven't explained it to us, but they have filed a trademark for it. So,
my friend Tama, my freaking Tongan,
my family tree, mouth foot, not disease, but one of them lah.
Mother freaking Tongan. I don't know. I hope they reveal it. But okay, so Kevin Owens got attacked, Randy Orton got attacked. This is to further the bloodline story more than anything, right?
I like that they are keeping Randy and KO together. Their chemistry, WrestleMania was great. They had a great match. And Randy technically has unfinished business with the bloodline because he lost that fatal 4-way at the start of the year. So I do believe it makes a lot of sense.
True.
My question is, do you like them putting Tama Tonga in this position as a tag team for his debut match? Should he have had a one-on-one with Kevin Owens? What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's fine. I think that are they ready to debut Jacob Fatu? though? Like,
So that is probably my prediction for this match. I feel like
mm,
they are gonna dominate this match. Randy and KO, they're gonna try to almost get the victory, and they're gonna lose
yep.
thanks to the new debut and interference of Jacob Fatu. It become a 3-on-2.
Yeah, so the whole idea is to build the blood. Like, I think for most of us who are a little bit quote unquote more in the know, that's what we're looking forward to, right? This match. Because beyond that, yeah, there's the revenge angle, but it's like this is the birth of this feud.
The new bloodline.
Yeah. So for me, more than anything, is just to see whether Jacob Fatu debuts. That's it.
I tell you, bro, Jacob Fatu, the moment he debuts, is just gonna bring such a new level of savagery anymore.
Yes.
Because I've seen his promos, I've seen his matches. Bro, he is like Umaga gone wild. Like Umaga in the jungle.
Is he better than Solo Sikoa as as a figurehead, do you think?
That's the thing, right? I honestly feel that he has a bigger upside than,
Solo.
because he has been MLW world champion. So he has been a world champion. So he has that, prestige and gravitas. I feel like he is that wilder brother that eventually will, that is the dissension. That's the future, feud, Solo and Jacob.
So who is the tag team here? Is it going to be Solo and Tama? Or is it going to be Solo and Jacob? Or is it Jacob and Tama? You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, like with the blood, like who is the figurehead? Like Solo, I'm still not sold on Solo, even though he's wearing suits and shit like that. Like they are trying to portray him as the new tribal chief, right?
Nah, but I think he is like, just the placeholder. Like, he's gonna be the one leading this storyline this couple of months when Roman is not around. But once Roman is back, once The Rock is back, there's levels to this, right?
Oh, we forgot to mention too. They announced, quote unquote, that Roman Reigns has taken himself out of the draft, so he will not be drafted. Yes. Which makes his return all the more shocking, I guess, right?
Yeah. So it's good. They're remove him from the storylines, let him, rest.
Yeah.
Let people forget about him for a bit. It's fine. I think it's fine. One other thing, bro, about this match. This coming SmackDown, there's gonna be an RKO show.
Okay.
So it's a Kevin Owens show, a KO show
with Randy
Orton, right? So that'll be interesting. I would love to see like them having like a promo. Whole segment with them and Paul Heyman as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just to set up the match, they call out the bloodline, and then Paul Heyman does what he does best, which is talk, and once again, Paul Heyman MVP always. You can see the fear in his eyes, which I love, lah.
I love his acting. Yeah, this is one of my eagerly anticipated matches for Backlash in terms of just story alone.
Yep. Speaking of anticipated matches, this is not one of them. The Kabuki Warriors. We've talked about how much we love Asuka and Kairi Sane, right?
Yeah.
But Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Okay, so
bro, who says nobody is not anticipating this match? I'm looking forward to this match. What are you saying?
Okay, fine. Like I get it from the point of view of like, what is this? The point where we just give the titles over already, because Asuka and Kairi have done nothing for the women's tag team titles. It means nothing. They're just holding on to it because there were no other tag teams.
Yeah, it's time to give the titles to the two black women. They clearly are a super tag team. To me, this is like the mega powers unite and then colliding in the future, right?
Right. So you give them the titles first, and then somehow through the months they start showing cracks while being champion, and then they finally break up at a pay-per-view.
Honestly, if they do it well, they can run this division for the entire year, and they can run the story, make Jade and Bianca a marquee match at WrestleMania 41.
I mean, they've hinted as much already, and they are two very not prototypical, but like they are two alpha females.
Yeah,
that like they have to go and fight at some point for the title.
Triple H is smart. Triple H is giving Jade all the time in the world. This is literally a placeholder, I think, for Jade to get seasoning, reps, working with Bianca, doing the tag team. Then when she's ready to, then they can pull the trigger. Okay, we can do this one-on-one match.
How long is it going to take? Because
I don't mind. I don't mind the whole year. Let them run the division. Yeah.
Let them, Bianca can do most of the work, right? And Jade comes in for the big finishing maneuvers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I've watched Bianca live. Man, she's legitimately athletic as hell.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a star. She's a star.
Okay, then we got Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffy time.
So I'm also eagerly anticipating this match.
Okay.
Bro, don't downplay because you know why? Like I
Yeah.
watched SmackDown, right? And the main event was I think Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton.
Mm.
But what happened is after Nia Jax got drafted to SmackDown, she actually interfered and attacked Bailey, who was at ringside, on
Yeah.
during commentary. So now we have this added wrinkle of like, oh, now we got Nia Jax stalking Bailey.
Yeah.
And Bailey also had to contend with Tiffany, who's taking advantage of the whole situation. And of course, Naomi, who
Naomi.
is her good friend, but she also wants the title back. So some nuances and layers to this women's title picture, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Are we going to see a tag team match on SmackDown? I mean, it makes logical sense, right? Bailey and Naomi versus Tiffany and Nia or something like that.
I wouldn't mind. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But what I'm excited is to see more Tiffany Stratton being showcased. Bro, she is
Yeah.
gonna be the biggest star in the next year. I'm pretty sure of it.
Agree. She's like a way more athletic Mandy Rose.
Bro, she went to Bubba Ray, right? And then she took his wrist. Then she's like,
I love it.
and then like the way Bubba sold it was hilarious. Bubba is like,
Yeah.
why are you touching me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. It's great. I love it.
I'm also looking forward to this match. Do you think Bailey drops the title here though? Not to Naomi though.
No,
And it's not Tiffy time yet, right?
Not yet. Not to fit time yet. I think Bailey needs to establish her babyface character again. She needs to have that one-on-one match with Nia Jax. So that could
So-
be the next feud.
Is this a schmoz? Nia Jax comes out, completely ruins the match.
Could be. I think so. But my question to you is, how long do you want to keep Tiffany Stratton as the almost girl during this period?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. And do they turn her as well? Because she's getting face pops,
Yeah, she is.
honestly.
Bro, when I was in Australia, I think that was the first time I
Yeah,
realized, wow, so many people were in love. I think before that, there wasn't like a very, audible reception
Nope.
towards her.
Yeah.
But that whole press conference in Australia, so I guess I'm lucky to say that I was there for the
Yeah.
rise of Tiffany Stratton then.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on then to Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. Are you sold on Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, as a World Heavyweight Championship contender?
I like the promo that they did last week. Like, Jay brings so much energy and intensity to his promos. He's fun to listen to. The whole Yip thing, the whole this thing. Like, he got the package of a main eventer figured out almost.
Yeah.
I love, Damien is like really macho, not macho man, Razor Ramon like.
Yeah. Machismo. He's got a lot of that machismo going on.
Yeah, for a bisexual Undertaker, he does have a lot of masculinity. So, hey. good for him.
Okay, but it's not time for him to drop the title, right? He just won it. He needs to establish himself, and unfortunately, Jey Uso is the guy to do it, like to
Yeah.
elevate him.
Yeah. So Jay is doing what AJ Styles is doing, right? They're just padding out the
Yeah.
wins, the victories for the champions.
Does-
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but does this make this pay-per-view a bit like, like you see, like exactly, right? The two main events, quote unquote, the two big matches, right? And I'm sure maybe Damian Priest or Jey Uso will start the pay-per-view, PLA. It's very predictable. Like Damian Priest is going to retain, Cody Rhodes is going to retain. And Cody is kind of not in any other feud, so you can't is Rock going to show up? So there's none of that hype.
Yeah. Well, there's only way to make it worthwhile is if they debut Jacob Fatu. I think that would be a great, storyline development. Maybe is it the right time to bring back Jimmy Uso in the story? That's also something to consider.
Ooh.
And Jay, I wouldn't mind if Jimmy loses, if Jay loses, but then when he walking backstage, suddenly he sees Jimmy or something. There's a hint of them reuniting. I think that would be really, really cool. Between Cody and AJ, I just foresee it as okay, like how AEW say, just a dream match.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but okay, so Cody is in a very interesting spot. And I mean, let's address how there's a portion of the wrestling audience who are like, oh, we are bored of Cody already, blah, blah, blah. I swear, people talk shit just to talk online, I'm perfectly fine with him sort of taking a back seat now that he's had his moment, right? But yes, I do agree. At some point, they need to start giving him threats. For whatever reason, unfortunately, we don't see AJ Styles as that threat. We see him as he's just there to pad his resume to make him look good, right?
Yep.
How do we make it so that there's something to look forward to when it comes to Cody Rhodes?
Well, I have a couple of things that, like my predictions for this week's Raw SmackDown, right?
Mm.
There's gonna be a couple of matches that's gonna be added to the card. I'm pretty sure, they're gonna do something with Drew and Sheamus. Something is building there.
Yeah.
That could bring back CM Punk because CM Punk is also gonna be drafted, right?
Yeah.
So this could bring CM Punk back to television. So if they do anything there and
Oh,
then it
yeah.
bleeds back into Backlash, that would be really, really fun.
CM Punk in France. Let's go on the mic. Commentary
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, kickstart this Drew McIntyre and CM Punk feud. I would love it, right? I think Cody Rhodes needs to, the moment AJ Styles loses to Cody, right?
It's such a foregone conclusion, by the way.
It is. I think the next challenger needs to step up, and I want this to be like, honestly, you know who I want it to be?
Gunther.
Yes, because Bash at Berlin is the June show, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And imagine like Cody as a heel.
Cody as a heel in a babyface, as the babyface, but in a heel atmosphere, right?
It would, so they can sell it like, last time they always like when they go to Canada and people are booing Stone Cold, but they're cheering Bret Hart.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Bash at Berlin is not too soon. It's only at in August.
Which is fine. Then they can drag it out till August. Let them build it up, and I'm actually excited about that. But yeah, so on Raw, if they draft Gunther over to SmackDown, then you have the next contender. Or maybe the whole AJ Cody thing can, drag a few more weeks. You don't expect it to be over in one match, right?
Yeah. Okay, bro. I'm looking at like the pay-per-view list for the year, right? So Backlash France followed. The next pay-per-view is King and Queen of the Ring. Saudi show.
Yeah.
So
that's where Gunther becomes king.
Correct. Establish him as the king, right? So maybe Cody will have maybe a 2-match or 3-match series with AJ Styles. Sure. Maybe they can develop the feud.
Yeah.
After Clash, so after Saudi Arabia, right? The next event is actually Clash at the Castle. Clash at the Castle is in June.
So that's going to be headlined by Drew for sure.
Yeah, so that could be where Drew wins the title, or maybe Drew and CM Punk, blah, blah, blah.
Or it could be Drew versus Priest.
Yeah, Drew versus Priest. That could be an interesting... and then CM Punk fucks him over.
Or Drew versus Priest versus CM Punk if he's ready. It could be a triple threat. Like, it could be so many permutations, right?
Yeah, and then in July is Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank in Toronto, Canada. So, hey, I'm just saying that, this is a bit like, Backlash got nothing. But remember last year we had Backlash in Puerto Rico and we thought like, okay lah, nothing lah. But then the audience
made
it so good.
Yeah, it could. Hey, let's not underestimate the
French people.
No, not just the French, but the WWE fans. They can say fans now, by the way. The universe in all these countries that don't get WWE, they are going to show up and show out, right? Are they going to turn on Cody? Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think. Not yeah. I think France. I think all the international fans
they'll still love them. Cody,
bro. Imagine, bro. The card might be meh on paper, but if you imagine if every single crowd reaction is like amazing, France,
Yeah.
That's why I tell you, Kevin Owens will have the biggest pop of the night
because he can speak French.
Probably kind of French promo somewhere. Or Sami Zayn. Oh, bro, they might do a Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable rematch.
Ooh, okay.
So that's a big thing on the card.
I think so. Who's a famous French wrestler? Where is René Dupree?
René Dupree is probably the only French wrestler I know. La Resistance.
Where is La Resistance? Rob Conway and what's the other fella's name?
Was it René? Sylvain Grenier.
What happened to them?
I have no idea, bro. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Who can speak French? But it's only the French Canadian people that will have the biggest pops, probably.
The only other big French star is obviously Andre the Giant, lah.
Bro, you know who will be another big French star?
Who?
Maryse with the Miz.
Oh boy, here you go. There you go. So okay, I mean, once again, I think the crowd will make this work, and we can expect quality at the end of the day from WWE, lah. That's not a dispute. Right? It's like Papa H will give us something fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, we are gonna be there. Backlash. We are. It's fun to have this post WrestleMania. It's usually a downturn.
Yeah.
But the momentum is still hot. So I like that. I like that we are still very excited about wrestling throughout the year. Hopefully.
For sure. And with that said, thank you so much for hanging out on the podcast. If you haven't already, drop us a follow on our social media pages. We are on Discord as well. That's where we carry on all our funny little in between the week conversations about this crazy world of pro wrestling. So feel free to come in and be a part of the community. And of
Yeah.
course, we have a Patreon page as well. If you want to take your support of the podcast one step further, hey, any tier that you support us at, we appreciate it. We say thank you so very much.
Yeah, and of course, we got to thank our sponsors one more time. Mirage Advisory. They are the reasons why we are here, keeping the lights on, giving us the support, to do this podcast week to week and delivering all this content to you. They are great at what they do. Please support them. Please follow them on their Instagram. They are the best. There is the best there was and the best there ever will be.
And that's the bottom line. Because
Be-
Mirage Advisory said so.
There you go. There you go. Shout out to Mirage Advisory. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna talk about. It's Grapplemax Amplify, which happened this past weekend. Yeah, Mr.
Absolutely. If you are watching this on a Monday, it happened on a Saturday. We're recording this on a Sunday, so it literally just happened last night, and we're gonna get our OG, our day one. Div Royalty, some of you might know in the Discord and on chat and everything, right? She's going to come in to share with us what went down at Grapplemax Amplify.
Yeah, she has been listening to us since the very first episode back in 2018, 6 years ago. We've met her, we've seen her countless of times. She's been a great supporter of the podcast, but this is actually the first time ever she's been on the show. So please give her your props, man. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. And it's been a long time coming. She's our OG supporter, Patreon member from the start. Div, welcome to the show.
Hi guys.
Hi, Dave. You know what? It's crazy because we were just talking about, we met each other in Perth, Elimination Chamber, and like we were talking about how, we've been doing this podcast since like 2018.
Yeah.
And like you literally were the first I would say somebody that we've never met before. Like you discovered us through the podcast, and we became friends and connected since then. Just for context for everyone, can you tell us like more about yourself and like how you actually discovered the podcast? Tell us about your connection with Kick to the Gut from way back.
And of course, your love of wrestling. How did that come about? I also want to know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Three-part question.
I know that you guys always ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
And like how we get into wrestling, but the truth is I don't know. I feel like I've been watching wrestling my whole life. Like I don't remember ever having that aha moment with wrestling. Like so I feel like I've been watching wrestling since like the early 90s, which makes me very old, but yes.
Was it always on like Channel 5, that kind of thing? You would randomly watch a Velocity or whatever?
Yes. So like I remember watching it on Channel 5, and then then after that cable TV came about, and then we had Super Sports, and then but I actually missed the whole Attitude Era, so I have a very weird like history with wrestling because I've been banned from watching wrestling 3 times in my life. So so I missed quite a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
That's when parents come in. What is this violent thing you're watching? What is this disgusting? And then when they have like the Tori Wilson bra and panties match, it's like paisi.
Very hard to justify.
Very hard to justify.
Jalan.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like finding it out, casually watching it, and the level of like super fandom that you have. So like how did that elevate to that level?
I think I just kept coming back to it. Like I kept coming back to watching wrestling, and I used to like be really obsessed with wrestling. Like I was the type of fangirl who would like write down like wrestlers' birthdays in my calendar, and like and before like social media, they had all the internet wrestling forums, so I would like go in and like comment and argue with people and get like blamed and stuff. But,
amazing.
Hey,
so,
maybe
I was always there.
Maybe at some point you might have even gotten into an argument with Tony Khan. Because we know he is in those wrestling forums.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, then how did you keep that love going? I mean, I'm assuming, is this something kind of like more of like you do it, it's like your own personal hobby, you don't really share with anyone, or like how do you keep it going throughout the years?
I think it was mostly an online community thing because most of my friends, I mean, my family will sometimes sort of watch it with me because they're forced to. But I like most of my friends and everything, they're not really into wrestling. So so I not really had like friends who joined me in watching, but I made friends through watching.
That's even
but
better.
I guess because I was always on the internet wrestling forums, and then after social media came about, oh my God, I sound very old, but when social media first started, and then you start to get to know people on like Facebook and Twitter, and that's how I guess also then Spotify and podcasts came about and YouTube, and then I found you guys, and then I was like, oh yay, podcasts.
So
Yeah.
how did you make the leap? And do you remember when from like WWE, international wrestling to
Mm-hmm.
local wrestling? Because, I bet you there's a wide number of people who do know WWE, but don't even realize that there's a local scene.
Yes.
Mm.
So actually, I didn't know as well.
Ah.
Yeah. So do you guys remember Facebook used to have this game called Wrestler? Like it was one of those app games that they used to
No.
have
Like chat
way back
chat
when.
games, right? At the
Yeah,
side, yeah.
yeah. So I actually made a lot of friends through there, and
Oh.
so one of them is actually Lady Killer. So Lady Killer and I were Facebook friends for very long already.
Wow,
So
wow,
yeah,
okay.
so I met a few people through there, and I think Vadim, who runs SPW, is also through there. So like Dennis and I were talking about this yesterday. Like he actually sent like a Facebook message to everyone when SPW first started. It's like, hey, I'm starting this wrestling thing in Singapore. And of course, me being me, I saw it was like a Russian name and stuff, and I was like, oh, scam. And then I kind of ignored the message. So now I'm like, oh no, I could have been part of SPW when they first started. But
Oh.
yeah. So actually, it was a friend of mine who introduced it to me. So we know each other through the Arsenal Football Club, and he was like, "Hey, you watch wrestling? Like, do you know that there's a
Mm.
local wrestling show?" And yeah, so that's when I started going to shows.
What was this the guy that we met in Perth? Was that Sharif?
No, it wasn't. It was he's one of the guys who usually comes to the Grapplemax shows or SPW shows with me. Yeah, so shout
Mm.
out Aaron Ong. Yeah.
What's
Ah,
up,
very
man?
nice.
Appreciate it. And okay, so tell us about like, that connection from like, being a local learning about local wrestling, and how did you actually start like listening to us and wanting to like commit to listening to us? Because literally you have been our day one.
Yeah. So to make you guys feel more special, I actually don't listen to podcasts. I'm not a
Oh.
podcast audiobook person at all. So like literally the only podcast I listen to is you guys.
Stop making our head getting bigger and bigger
Appreciate
and
it.
bigger. No, we
Appreciate
we appreciate it
Hey,
so much.
you can
Oh my
Zoom,
God.
Hey,
Zoom,
really? Got like
Zoom
that?
can do
How did
that.
that happen?
Wow, hey, I didn't know
It's
that.
a Zoom thing.
Is
If
it?
you
Yeah.
no, if you
It's
it's on Apple. I think on MacBook Zoom you can do that.
Wow.
wow.
A
So if,
foreign, some
wait,
next
wait,
level shit.
if you do
Yeah.
thumbs up, got AR, bro. It's not like
WWE, hey, we level
Yeah.
up. Thanks to our Patreons, we've leveled up our graphics and AR, apparently.
Okay,
Imagine one
sorry.
day you put the hands up and then you see Roman Reigns coming in.
Oh, that's the best. That's the kind of
Yeah,
AR that
yeah.
WWE needs to go into. Okay, we do not want to distract you from your story. Sorry, continue.
Right.
Yes, you're saying.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying.
You're saying you
Uh,
don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah, no. So
Mm.
I started listening to reviews of local wrestling because when I like to engage and I like to listen to stories and I like to like have people to discuss with. And also because like most of my friends are not really into wrestling. So I was kind of looking for people to, chat with about this. So especially when you guys started doing the podcast and then when you started doing the live shows with the live chat, like that's my favorite part because you get to like talk with people and
Yes.
now with the Discord. So I think, yeah, so that was the part that really attracted me to it, all the community that's being formed.
Awesome. And I think one of the very core memories I remember from like watching local wrestling was I think you actually came up to us, I think after a
Yeah.
Grapplemax show, I'm pretty sure, and then you introduced yourself and like, oh, I'm Div Royalty. We remember people from their Instagram handles and
Yes,
their,
yeah.
their names. Yeah. So it's really, really cool. And to kind of link back to what we are discussing today, right? We've been following local wrestling. I think we've all been doing our part to kind of attend, and we really want to give a shout out to you because we always see you there, whether it's a Grapplemax show, SPW show, and you're more than happy to kind of chat and give your thoughts on it. So we kind of like put this to you since like both me and Yang weren't able to attend Grapplemax Amplify this past weekend yesterday. Could you do us a favor and since you are already involved and you really do review your stuff and give us your thoughts, could you officially be our woman on the ground together with our lovely intern Saleh to kind of tag team on this?
Yes, I mean, yeah, but disclaimer, I feel what I feel, okay?
No, it's
I'm
fine. No,
not,
it's
yeah,
absolutely fine.
I'm completely not objective at all. Like there's things I like, there's things that I don't like. So
Awesome.
Yeah, we like it.
yeah.
You and Yang have that in common.
Excuse me, I'm the most objective person. What are you talking about? The young Anyway,
I am the most objective person in this podcast. Let's be clear there.
Okay. Come, we are focusing on Amplify, which happened as we
Yes.
record this. It happened last night, so it's fresh in your mind right now, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. I haven't even like put up my Insta stories yet. Like I'm still like, yeah, it's a really good show last night.
Awesome,
And yeah,
awesome.
exciting news coming from Grapplemax as well. So Very exciting
Okay.
future ahead.
Okay, share that with us at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yes.
review. Okay, can we set some context because the previous Grapplemax Amplify SPD won the Grapplemax Openweight
Number one
so-called
contender.
contendership, yes,
Yeah.
and then of course we had the whole betrayal with Showtime getting ousted, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
how did that lead into like your anticipation for this card? What were you most looking forward to?
I didn't realize that you could lose your voice from booing someone
Oh,
because
Wow.
because they put the Showtime matches like back to back. So there was the Showtime Inc. match and then there was Calvin match. So after those two matches, my throat was like gone already because I
Aiyo.
booed so hard. It was just like, oh no, you guys are terrible. You're the worst friends in the world. Yeah. So and a lot of it, I mean, I think a lot of us were still sort of reading from that, but I think the audience also, it felt like there were a lot of new faces and it felt like a very
Nice.
neutral audience because I think the previous shows we've had a lot of like SPD's friends and Prabhu's friends and
Yes.
Hotshot's friends and things like that. But this time it felt like the audience was a bit mixed, so it was very
Wow.
interesting.
Which is also a good thing because if you
Yeah.
have people who don't know either way the story, right, then it's up to the performance to tell the story. Were they effective in telling the story and getting, the audience to sway one side or the other, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
get a
so-
sensing? Sorry, do you get a sensing that that neutral crowd make the performers lean into their characters a bit more to try to win over because it's kind of like a new so-called fan base to win over?
I think maybe a little bit because like I did see, I mean, maybe it was just like Showtime being Showtime, but like they were very dastardly last night. So
Yes.
Incredibly
I was like,
dastardly.
oh
But they're
Yeah.
always dastardly, like,
They're
it's
always
their whole
dastardly.
thing, like, So
Yeah.
I think,
So
I
I
mean,
think
what we
they
can do
really
is
felt
go,
it.
right. I think what we can do is we can go into each match and then just, see where we go, tell us about the audience reaction and things like that. So we started off the night, interestingly enough, with the title match.
Was it a title match? I thought it was just a non-title.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not all right. With the
Yeah.
champion, excuse me, with the Grapplemax Openweight champion, Hotshot versus. Oh, tell us about this Michael. Michael Su. Michael. What was his name?
Michael Su, I think.
Michael Su.
maybe. Yeah. So he's apparently he wrestles in Hong Kong.
Ah.
Yeah, so I don't really know much about him. I just remember like he shot this promo before the match and he was very polite and he was like, "Hi, Mr. Wilson, I would like to engage you in combat," like kind of thing.
Oh,
He had such a
okay.
cute accent and like he was
Like a
he was
gentleman.
he seemed like such a gentleman.
He has a very
Okay.
smiley face. I'm looking at his photo right now. He's just smiling away, like he.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm curious. So is that like a hint of like actual danger behind that face? Is he actually a heel? What's up with that?
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely very hard hitting. He gave a lot of like really hard chops to Wilson. So Wilson had a very red chest at the
Wow,
end of
okay.
it as well. Yeah. So he was definitely a very hard hitter. It was an okay match. He just came in, he smacked everybody, he tried to talk a bit of crap to the audience. And of course, like, Hotshot pulled through at the end. So
Was this a story of Hotshot having to prove his worth and fight from underneath? Like we've seen quite a few times already. Interesting because he's the champ, right?
Yeah, I think and also I think the reason why this was the opening match was because Michael had to leave early. So he actually left before the show. I think he left before the show ended.
Gotcha.
So he was interesting because he came in as like a foreign heel trying to like overthrow the champion. So I guess that was sort of the story behind there. So he did have some moments where he was making fun of the audience and I think the referee was trying to count him out because he had like Wilson up in a corner and he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the number of abs I have. And I was like, wait, where?
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there was like those little moments where he was trying to really turn the crowd against him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was an easy match, I think, for Wilson. I mean, he took a lot of damage, but I don't think he was as much of an underdog in this match as he was in like some of the previous ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I really like Hotshot. Like Hotshot is one of my favorites. Like I've seen him from like his opening match like 5, 6 years ago, and like he's someone who has evolved a lot, and I think he is continuing to evolve. So I don't think he's quite like a finished product or a finished character yet. Like I think there's still like some more changes to come to him, or like I'm not too worried about him. Like I think
Yeah.
he will eventually get there, but it's still a process with him.
There it is. By the way, when you said
Oh,
I
sorry,
really
that was
like
just my review. Like
No, that's fine. That's fine. I was waiting because when you said I really like Hot Shot, I was like, "Where's the butt? Where's the butt?" And then
Yes.
the butt finally came. I was like, "Okay, I kind of get
Yeah.
where you're going with it." And like just based on the previous few times we've seen him, I agree with you 100%. It's like there's something missing, that evolution that needs to get there, but it's a wait and see. It's all right.
Yeah.
What's the final product going to look like, right?
Yeah. I think I've been a bit more critical of Hotshot ever since he won the title.
Yeah.
I think he's suffering from what I term it the Cody problem,
Oh my god.
You know why?
Yes.
He has finished his story when he
Yeah.
won the title.
Yeah.
And then it's now like now what? Like this new chapter. How is he going to
It's-
establish himself, right?
Yeah. I think the best example is Kofi Kingston.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston is a good example as well. Yeah, because like right now we all accept that he's we love him, we support him, we want him to do well. But it's almost as if to me maybe he's taking a step back. Maybe it's by design from Grapplemax
Yeah.
so that they can kind of highlight other stories. But
Yeah.
now I do not feel like every show is working towards the main event, towards Hot Shot and his title defenses.
Yeah, because it seems like the main story right now is SPD and this whole Showtime, kicking him out and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Did this match feel like a side quest, like a, something that just happens out of canon sort of thing? I mean, like a standalone episode of a show.
Yeah, I think this was the foreign talent match.
The foreign in the building.
So
Yes.
it's like, hey, we've got Michael. Okay, let's have a
utilize
match.
him somehow,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very interestingly enough, for those of you who are not on our Patreon, Div has also given her star ratings,
Yes.
her SW20 ratings for each wrestler. And of course, we won't reveal it here. So if you want to know, please join us on our Patreon. But I'm very curious to kind of, one thing that you mentioned in your review that I wanted to highlight, right? You said it's like about how Hotshot, has still ways to go to evolve, right? What do you think he needs to do to reach that next level? What is so-called he lacking in that to reach to that evolution that we want from him?
I have no idea. I'm also like, I don't know. Like I think we just need to find out his story a little bit more. Because we know what he can do in the ring, but I think this is also something for this promos as well. Is I see what he's saying and I hear what he's saying, but I don't know why he's saying it, and I can't connect with it as much.
His character motivations is still not there. Okay.
So maybe like finding his why. But also to be fair, I'm half the time when I see his promos, I'm distracted by his dimple because he's got a very stupid.
He is a lady killer in his own right, if you know what I mean.
Hotshot, start wearing a mask so your dimples don't distract. It's like Drex, yeah? Who is Hotshot? Why is Hotshot? That's the question we need to answer. Why is Hotshot?
Right.
I think this is a question for the person with the pencil. You know who you are in Grapplemax.
Yes.
Can you give us a compelling story with Hotshot? I love the story of like a new champion trying to establish himself, trying to win over the fans.
Yeah.
But I would love a guy who is hunting him throughout the shows. You know what I mean? Yeah, like maybe he's established himself, but then there's always this one guy looking in the background. I'm waiting for the right time to take you down, Hotshot. And then it can be like a, prize, like a hunter and a prey kind of scenario. I mean, I would love that. I don't know who would be perfect for that role, but that's how I would book it.
And moving forward ahead as well, like what about the eventual SPD versus Hotshot match? Like that's a face versus face match, right? Like that's a weird situation to have.
Yeah, I have no idea that's gonna look like for now. Like I love SPD, I love Hotshot, but I don't know what the story of it is gonna be like. But I mean, it's Grapplemax, so
you trust the
let them-
process.
I'll trust the process.
Let them cook, as the kids
them
say.
cook.
Let them cook.
All right, in Papa Greg, we trust. Is it?
Yes. Let's talk about the next match. Gout. I love their name. Did they go with Gout or they went with something else, right?
They were trying so hard to stick to midlife goals, but the audience stuck to Gout.
Bro,
Like,
the
yeah, it
second
was
they
underdog.
put that video out on Instagram, I'm like, Okay, midlife goals is not going to get over, but gout confirm get over.
Gout is hilarious. Okay, for those who are not aware, who have never seen like the videos or been to the show, tell us who is Gout and what is this story? Tell us that content of that
Alright.
video.
Yeah. So they're basically like two old guys.
not not a middle
like,
age.
like,
Okay.
I'm same age range, so I won't say too much, but
Yeah.
like, they're basically like, I think they're a bit older, they're a bit more experienced. So they, they basically got together and were like trying to help each other out. So this all started with like Joseph asked D for his help against oh, why am I forgetting his name?
Is it the what's Volkarna? No.
The Malaysian guys,
The MyPW guy,
the
right?
MyPW guys, right?
Against Kaizo, right?
Miles
Yeah.
Karu.
No, it was against the assassin fella, Kaizo.
Oh, Kaizo, yeah, from
Kaizo.
the
Yeah.
Causeway Jam, right?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's when I think D came in and helped him, and then now they're like, and then then they realized they had a problem with Dave, and so now this is a thing where Dave is a problem to them. So Dave is a threat to the old generation of.
I
If
see.
you go to Grapplemax's Instagram account, it's there, the video. I can't remember what GOUT actually stands for. They actually said something.
Great
Like-
old uncle team or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah, it was some weird.
Yeah, and then they're like, doesn't that spell gout? Then that's where I thought that was funny, hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was Gout versus Simon and Lavin, who I've dubbed Surf and Turf. I don't know if they're adopting that name or not, but that was the match.
Yeah, Simon. Okay, so Simon and Lavin actually make a really good tag team. So I'm very sad, about what happened at the end of the match.
Okay.
Okay. Walk us through what
yeah.
happened.
So I mean, okay, so basically the entire match was, Simon and Lavin getting in the offenses, and I think, D and Joseph also worked really well together. So it was like two well-oiled teams going against each other. Yeah, so they had a lot of like good combination moves as well. So I think there was one move where Simon was kicking, was it Joseph's head, and then Lavin went for his legs. So there's all these things that make them such a great tag team. But of course, in the end, D did his like running slap thing and a pedigree, which I guess is going to be his new finisher.
Wow,
and,
okay,
Yeah, so
okay.
D pinned Lavin for the win, and
I see.
Simon
I
was
see.
not happy.
So did Simon
Okay.
show a bit of aggression towards Lavin? Like, hey, you cost me the match, that kind of
There
thing.
was a lot of aggression.
A lot of aggression. Okay, did he
Throughout
did
the
he hit-
match.
Did he hit Lavin? What happened?
Yeah, so I think one of the interesting things about Simon Lavin is, even though, because Simon's a bit of a high flyer guy and then Lavin's a bit more technical, so their attacking force is like really quite on. But one thing I noticed, like when they were coming out, is I've noticed that Simon has gotten angrier over time.
Oh,
Like if
okay.
you realize that, actually with every match, I feel like he's just gotten like a little bit more intense, and he's like,
Oh,
Like a
you know,
bigger
he's-
chip on his shoulder with every
yeah,
match.
like
is it?
he's just constantly angry. I mean, if I had to commute every day across the causeway, I'd feel you, but like, but yeah, he was really,
That's
really angry.
legit. Okay.
But when Lavin came out, he was like, he was chill, he was dancing to his music. He's like, oh yeah, let's do this. Like, so you could see that character differences between both of them, and I think it complemented super well. So at the end of the match, Simon, kind of got up in Lavin's face of like, what happened? What just happened? Why did you just lose? And then he kind of like bumped his shoulder against Lavin pretty hard and then walked off. And then Lavin
Yeah.
was just like, oh man.
Gotcha.
So I was a bit surprised because like I was like, oh, but it's okay, you guys can patch things up. Like, hug, be friends. And
Okay.
but then at the end of the whole show, they announced that at Fight Club, there's going to be a Simon versus Lavin match.
oh.
Ooh. So is it more of like, okay, these are two tag team members, they're having issues. Let's do a match to kind of like squash the beef. Is that the kind of vibe they're going for?
I don't think so, because I feel like maybe they were not as established as a team yet. I mean, even though we love seeing them together, maybe that wasn't really the plan for them. So
Gotcha.
I don't think they're gonna get back together.
Okay.
Sadly.
I want to know, like, in terms of the dynamic of the match. So you're saying that it was essentially two babyface teams, but just one had like better chemistry and kind of got the win, and the other
Yeah.
one, their miscom led to their loss and what subsequent fight that they had.
Yeah, so that felt like it was too. I don't think there was any miscom. Also, that's the thing. Like, I don't think there was there was a bit of confusion of like, who's the legal man, because I think Joseph used his head on the wrong guy at some point. Yeah, so
Okay.
um there were the moments of a little bit of confusion of like, hey, who's legal, and like, definitely some like double teaming from from
Mhm.
each side, but um that's the thing, like, because I don't think there was any sort of like miscommunication between Simon and Davin, or I don't think there was um really any sort of friction between them, or
So
at least in my eyes lah, like
right.
there wasn't really any sort of friction. So the only issue I think Simon had with Davin is that he lost.
Right. So it was just a thing about character development, or he's finally losing his cool. He's finally blown his top. He's like this hothead lah.
Yeah, so it does feel like Simon is going to finally lose his shit.
Well, I mean, they could go two ways with this, right? It could be a thing where Lavin teaches him a lesson at the next one at the Fight Club, and then Simon's like, oh, okay, I lost my head, I'm sorry, and then they go back to being a tag team, or they actually become rivals and, carry on a feud. So it's interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, so I kind of had a theory about this, but I'll tell you guys after the main event.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
So there's a
I
link.
was
There
kind of
is a
hoping
link.
that it would go like another way, but yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm curious to know as well because I'm just kind of eyeing your star ratings as well.
Mhm.
Can you tell me why you gave this particular person the highest ratings among the four? I'll let you do the explanation.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Okay.
not surprised because he is a veteran. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, he's a veteran. I was like, yeah, I forgot that he used to, he was actually like the original troll, back when he
Ah.
first started. So like
Yeah.
you kind of forget these things as time goes on, and then like when he's in the match again, and then you remember like, oh yeah, like I really used to hate this guy. Yeah, so but the reason why he got a bit of a higher rating is also because of what happens at the end of the next match.
Okay.
Ooh. So
Yeah,
it's
so
his rating for overall of the night lah. Overall
overall
of
of
the
the
night.
night, yeah. So he
Okay.
got it a little bit higher because I do feel like he is a veteran, and I think it's
Mm.
very clear that he is someone who knows what he's doing,
Okay.
and who knows how to get the reactions from the crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love what you said, and I also love the fact you didn't mention his name. So if you want
Yes.
to find out what she's talking about, feel free to join us on our Patreon and read all the reviews. Great job, Dave, on this.
Speaking of the next match, let's talk about the next match because we have Ships Ahoy, your favorite team, foreign.
Mhm.
Don't forget about Ships Ahoy.
Okay.
Versus Ban and Dave. And the ongoing saga story with Ban and Dave is, Dave is sort of this wily veteran who's not averse to breaking the rules, right? Using chairs, cheating. And Ban is like, no, we're good guys. We shouldn't do that. Okay. How did this
Yeah.
turn out? Where are we along the line of that story?
Oh my God. Dave is so angry. And he's such a good heel. He's very, very good at being the bad guy. And you can tell that he's having a lot of fun with it.
Mm.
And I think that just makes him like one of the best heels,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think maybe even in Singapore at this
Like
point in
like
time.
it's kind of like Drew McIntyre, right? You can tell like he's been
Oh,
let
yeah.
loose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good comparison. That's a great
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually very happy, he's so-called turned around because, after he lost his title last year, he had a great run as champion.
Yeah.
My worry was like, how is, Grapplemax gonna build him back, or like what's next for him after losing a title.
Mm.
So it's nice that he's kind of settled into this, like maybe almost like upper mid card, this, mishmash of a tag team, and
Yeah.
but there's a great story running through it. So yeah, very happy with Dave's progression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us
Dave,
more about like the
okay.
the
The
match
match.
itself.
Yeah.
So he started off the match
Mhm.
by slapping Sarah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was
Wait,
sorry, just
what?
give me a minute.
Slapping
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, so
Slapping.
like it was I hate to use this word, but it was like a real slap to the face. Like and not just once. It was multiple times throughout the entire match.
How
Like
how did the crowd react to that? Holy shit, was that a
Big
bad
booze lah, of course,
yeah,
right?
like we were all like, oh my God,
shock lah?
Like, how dare
how
you
can
do that,
this
Dave?
Yeah, and to Sarah, like she's so well loved, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh no.
Hey, even with my so-called beef with Sarah, I would never do that to her. Oh my
Your
god.
beef.
That's
Sure.
terrible. That's terrible, man. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
any of that too. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we get that, in this sort of a setup in Grapplemax, right? Yes, there is intergender wrestling, but there's still, I think, a part of all of us when you see a man strike a woman, it's still gonna elicit that like sort of gut reaction, like, oh, you can't do that. There's still that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely like everyone sort of like guessed when it happened the first time. And then, I think there might have been like, I think 3 times throughout in the match where he actually slapped her. And I was like, oh God, like,
Wow.
oh, this is just getting worse. Yeah.
Can I hear your point of view on this? I mean, as a female wrestling fan, right? Like, do you personally, even in the context of an intergender match, would want a man to strike a woman, or would you rather keep it to just wrestling moves?
Yeah. I think it depends on who it is. Because
Okay.
I think it depends on a lot of the context of the
The
match itself
nuance, lah.
and
Yeah.
the different characters themselves. I'm definitely like a bit more sensitive to anything that has a bit of like a sexist feel to it.
Yeah.
But this didn't feel like a sexist thing.
Okay.
So like to me, I look at Sarah as someone who can take it and who can give it, and she definitely gave it back to Dave after that.
Okay, so
she
there's
had
a payoff.
yeah, she had an amazing payoff in the match. So I don't feel like it was so terrible for Dave to hit Sarah as like, as
Yeah.
like looking at it from a wrestling fan point of view. But of course in the moment when I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, that. But I
I
was
feel
also
like
like Sarah's gonna slap you back. So
So, like, okay, let me give you an example, right? It would be like if Chris Jericho slapped China versus if Chris Jericho, I don't know why I brought up Chris Jericho, but, if Chris Jericho slapped China versus if Chris Jericho slapped, let's say, Mae Young.
Lillian Garcia.
Lillian
or
Garcia.
something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, with China, China can beat him up. So it doesn't feel quite as quote-unquote dastardly or bad, right? But if he slaps Mae Young, you're like, hey, how can? That's like, Mae Young can't protect herself.
Oh, yeah,
That's
Mae
sort of
Young
an
also.
idea. Does that make sense?
yeah, like I think I do feel like the women who come in to wrestle, they can take care of themselves. And I feel like
Yep.
at least like the woman, I mean, for Sarah, Mingray, for like, TJ and whoever else comes in, and Lexis, of course, they can all take care of themselves in
Yeah.
the ring. So when
Yeah.
I see someone like smack them or slap them or whatever, I have the feeling of like, oh, they're gonna get it back. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna get their revenge at some point. So
Gotcha.
I do sort of cheer for it in that way, or I do react in that way.
Okay. Glad to know that. But okay, now tell me more about this. I saw on social media
Yeah.
this whole like battle within himself, this internal conflict that Bun was going through, and tell us about that ending. That ending.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, so before we get to the ending,
Yeah.
so there were definitely like some good moments in the match, and I was telling like Ships Ahoy as well, like it's so cute how you guys like care about each other, because they were constantly like, Kristen was like, how dare you slap my tag
Yeah.
partner, and then he was like going to Sarah like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh.
Like the number of times they asked each other, are you okay? It's like, yeah, it was quite funny though, but it's really sweet how they care about each other. And yeah, they gave me cookies after the match as well. So I'm
Aiyo.
not saying that I got bribed, but like, yeah, they're really cute.
Man, don't fall for it, Dave. Come on, Dave. I'll give you
Yeah.
cookies. I'll give you my Hari Raya cookies also.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
don't fall for it.
But the payoff that I was talking about of
Yep.
Dave slapping Sarah, because he did like target her quite a bit, and then Ban was like, why are you doing this? Like, she's not even in the match. He just went up to her corner and slapped her, like
Yeah.
so there was a moment where Sarah gave Dave a suplex, and it was an amazing suplex. It was very clean, very good. Yeah, so
Nice.
it was a very satisfying moment for the audience as well.
Gotcha.
That's your
Yeah.
payoff lah for all the dastardly things. It's
Yeah, so
Wrestling
that was-
101. Well done.
That was a good payoff. Yeah. So at the ending of the match, Christian actually pinned Ban. So it was really cute, like, because I mean, not cute, but they had like a sort of like a back and forth roll up sequence, and then Christian eventually pinned Ban. But Ban happened to be like Dave happened to come into the ring at the time that Ban was pinned. So it ended with like Ban looking at Dave like, oh no.
Shit. Oh,
And
like face to
Dave
face,
like,
like
why did you do this?
right.
What happened? Yeah, so it
Nice.
was a really good like moment to end the match on. So yeah.
Gotcha.
And then
Gotcha.
after that,
Yes, the afterbirth. Okay, talk to us about somebody going to the dark side.
yeah, so it was definitely very dramatic. It was so much drama. So they were kind of like so Dave actually took the chair, and then he started like hitting Christian, and then he was about to hit Sarah with the chair.
Yep.
And then Ban came in and saved Sarah and like took the chair away, and he was like, no, you shouldn't. And then Dave really got into like Ban's face, like, shoving him and screaming at him. And I remember he specifically said this line of like, I'm going to bury you, which I was like, yeah.
Bury you. Wow.
Yeah, because I was watching the video just now in the morning. I was like, wait, did he say marry or bury you? I was like, no, Dave's married. So yeah, this must be bury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to marry you off to
Like,
someone else.
What? No,
Yeah.
and it works on multiple levels too. Dave saying that, right? It works in a meta level if you think about
Yeah.
it.
It's like The Rock threatening to get you fired. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So everyone was like chanting for Ban of like, just hit Dave, like,
Yeah.
hit Dave with the chair. So actually Dave turned around and he was like, you know what, fine, hit me if you want to. Like, yeah, but of course then Ban, took that swing, but then he went and hit Christian instead.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he just like fell. It was like, oh, I can't believe what I've done. So
He's
there was a lot of regret after that as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a very clean heel turn. So there's
Gotcha.
definitely going to be a bit more like regret and like what am I doing?
I heard that video and I heard somebody screaming in that moment. Can you confirm whether it was you or was it someone else?
I mean, there's a good chance that it might have been me, but there were a lot of other people screaming in the audience as well. So like maybe not.
Okay, I gotta give my props to Grapplemax because if you can make the crowd so invested in what they are seeing in the ring that they can exclaim or gasp in such a reaction, I think you've done a great job. Do you see, because you said like Bun is not so-called a clean heel turn in this scenario, could it be more of like a Sami Zayn situation, being forced into the bloodline, doing all these things that he doesn't really want to do? Is that what they're trying to do with this?
I feel like it might. Yeah. So I feel like Bun's gonna go along with what Dave wants, at least for the foreseeable future. But I don't think he will fully turn heel. I mean, at least I don't think so, lah. But yeah, I kind of really hope that people will just start getting along because I was like, oh, my heart is getting broken.
Oh dear God. And there's of course that announcement that there's gonna be like a tag team tournament starting off really, really soon.
In
Do we have
June.
any idea whether does this mean Dave and Bun is gonna be has it been announced whether they're officially in this tournament?
They are. So they're one of the 6 or 8 teams that are in the tournament.
Yeah.
So they're officially in. So they will
Gotcha.
still, yeah.
So
So
I'm very curious to see how they're gonna keep this storyline track going, even in the context of the tournament. Could they win it even with their issues? Very interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
so it's going to be like a 2-day tournament thing in June, so
Mhm.
29 and 30th June. Yeah, so they haven't announced the matches yet, but we do know like which teams are going to take part. So
Yes, they announced the team.
we'll-
It's the same weekend as Forbidden Door, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be interesting. AEW New Japan for Forbidden Door.
Time to pencil that weekend. It's gonna be a long podcast that weekend, Mr. Yang.
Bro, it's my birthday weekend also, bro.
Oh, there you
Ah.
go. There you go.
No, I'm not hinting anything or anything, but I'm just saying it's going to be a busy weekend.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. So this match had definitely a lot of storyline developments, a lot of implications. Can you talk to us about the next match? I believe it is
Showtime
right?
versus
Showtime.
Nat and Titus.
Versus the rookies.
Quote unquote, the
the
rookies.
rookies. I
Yeah.
mean, I kept calling them young boys, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Why not?
But they are the young
technically
boys,
Awkward. Yeah. The poor thing, they really got like wet quite a lot,
yeah.
especially Titus. Like, yeah, the poor boy's chest was like got fingerprint marks and like was fully red after that.
Aiyo.
So he
Wait,
really got like smacked around a lot.
did this match come after the intermission? Because usually you have an intermission, right?
Yeah, so
So-
there was an intermission, and then
this was the
time
opener
intermission was
after
in the
the-
half. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you.
So yeah, so this is the opener after. So I mean, like I said, like I lost my voice booing so hard. So I was like, y'all suck.
Talk to us about Prabhu and Julian and how, how they did now without SPD in their corner.
Yeah, they're both dastardly enough that they were like just, I mean, obviously they had all of their shenanigans and they had like a bit of cheating, like distracting the ref and things like that. So Julian actually came out in a shirt that said SB dismissed.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I was like, why? Like, how could y'all do that? Because he had
that's
his
terrible.
jacket and then he like took off the jacket in the ring and we were all like, oh God, no. Yeah, why did you do that? Yeah. And if you think that was bad, you should see what Calvin wore.
Is there no SPD appearance on this show at all?
No.
Selling the injury lah, selling the
Yes.
beatdown
Selling the
lah.
injury.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love it.
he wasn't there as well, so
Oh, okay.
he was
Selling the
watching.
beatdown. There you go.
Mhm.
Or selling the humiliation, he's
Yep.
been a one.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, that's great.
like
That's great.
the heartbreak of, having his friends turn on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us about
Mhm.
Kelvin, because like, hey man, I've been paying more attention to this previously the intern, and I think he's graduated to be
Wait, was he out for this match?
Calvin. No, he wasn't, because his match is right after this.
Yeah, he's
Oh
in the
yes,
next
yes,
match
correct,
with
correct.
LK,
Yeah.
right?
Did-
Yeah.
So
he-
this match was purely just Julian and Prabhu.
Gotcha. So there wasn't any other appearances in between for each match.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's
gotcha.
essentially them beating up the young boys lah.
Yeah, so it's essentially them just beating up the young boys. Yeah, so I don't know. The young boys are very young.
You
They
need
are.
to give them time to season and grow a bit more lah. Huh?
So
I mean,
it felt-
I've talked about Nat and his babyface fire. I haven't seen Titus yet, so I'm not sure. Like, what's your impression on this Titus kid?
he's very young. I don't know if it's just because, okay, I don't know if I look at him like, oh my God, it's a school kid. Because he actually wore like school shoes to the match.
Oh really?
Like Converse
You know
white color
those,
one.
like-
Or
Yeah, like
Bata.
those Bata shoes, like yeah. And so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he's really very young boy.
he need save a bit more money to get the gear lah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
Sure,
you
yeah.
know, goes to like, when the bad guys beat him up, like you feel bad for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it felt a bit like, you're feeding like two innocent lambs to the wolves.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
it really felt like, oh, they kind of got. I mean, which
Touch.
I guess might have been the point of the match, but I wasn't uncomfortable about Dave slapping Sarah, but I was a bit uncomfortable during this match watching it. I was like, oh,
Interesting.
this boy's got fed.
So not only did
Yeah.
Showtime Inc. beat them in the match, they beat them up after. Talk to us about the save. So Inglorious made the save?
Yeah, so I mean Julian pinned I think it was was it Titus?
Was it
for the
Titus?
win?
Yes.
Let me it was Titus. Yeah, so Julian pinned Titus in the win, and they had like a double. They had a double move. So Prabhu had Titus on the shoulders, and then Julian bounced off the ropes and then like twisted Titus off, like slapped him. Yeah. So that was the ending of the match, and then after that, they wanted to beat them up some more and just wanted to punish them a bit more. So of course, Inglorious made the save. So Greg and Ramus came down, and then they were like, "No, let's give it up for the young kids," and things like that. So.
Which of course furthers the Showtime Inglorious potential feud. It's been brewing, right?
It is growing, and looks like we're gonna have a conclusion to it at Fight Club. So
Yes.
Awesome. I saw the Civil War like poster. I
Yeah.
thought
Nashwan,
that was
what's
pretty
up?
dope.
Shout out to Nashwan on
Shout out
those.
to him as well. Awesome.
Talk to us about the next match then, since we're talking about Showtime Inc., right? Kelvin versus Crypto Bro LK.
yeah.
All right,
I mean, if
talk to
y'all
us first
thought,
about
like-
Kelvin. Yeah.
Yeah, so if y'all thought Julian's shirt was bad, Kelvin came out wearing SPD's torn white shirt.
Oh.
Oh.
So we were like,
Wow.
oh, that is low. That was
Nice.
very low.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a heel right there. Awesome. Yeah, because as the point I was trying to make earlier, like, we've been paying a lot of attention to, Kelvin. I think we've seen his growth, right? From this
Yeah.
very kwai, always gonna bully, listen to everyone in Showtime. And then now, I think recently he's developed this mean streak, this arrogance, this
Yes.
confidence about him. Like, how was it to see that live, experience what he's doing live these days?
Oh yeah, he is a terrible person. It was. I mean, not like I'm saying Calvin the character, of course, but
Yes,
like
for sure.
Kevin is. I think there was a post by Grapplemax Instagram where they said the corruption is complete. I
Oh.
think the corruption is complete and like also upgraded, because
Nice.
he was like, yeah, he's completely dastardly. Like he's such an ungrateful little child, and I'm like, I was so mad. I was so angry throughout the entire match. I was
So
like,
he
He did his
completely
job.
he completely
He did his
bought
job.
into Showtime's philosophy, which is,
Be a dastardly
we are dastardly
person.
heels.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy to see. And
exactly.
it's also in a way, this match is like the battle of the physiques, right? I mean, come on, like both of them. It's like the young hotshot rising Randy Orton with the the OG guy. So
Yeah.
how was that dynamic like?
It was interesting. I think they are definitely both very physically matched. So they both had their offenses in, LK had a bit of his like punching and his boxing stuff, and then
Mhm.
Calvin is very quick, so he is able to, slide away, and he was also, of course, he tried to, use the bat and stuff like that,
Yep.
which of course backfired on him. So yeah, I don't know what's up with Showtime Inc. and stealing my chairs, but like at the beginning, he actually told me to get out of my chair, then he was sitting on my chair.
Oh, dear
And I
God.
was like,
Ayo.
why y'all always make me stand up? Like, guys, I
Why
pay for
you
my
always
chair.
bully Div? What did Div do to
Yeah.
you? Okay, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
so I mean, yeah, but he's really like, he was antagonizing everyone in the match. Like he was antagonizing the fans, he was antagonizing LK, like, this old guy here. He even antagonized the referee, which
Wow.
Oh
kind
wow.
of became part of the match as well. Like um he called Divya a bitch.
You
Yeah,
call
so
who?
the referee was Divya.
Oh,
So
okay, it's the female
yeah, so if you guys
referee.
haven't been to, I think, the past two shows, you might not have seen her yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she's
Mm,
actually from India. She was
Yep.
trained by the great Kali. She's a five-time former champion.
awesome.
So hope, like, if she makes her debut, we need to go see it because she's gonna be amazing.
Gotcha.
So when he called, he was like, I think he said something along the lines of, "Bitch, you don't know, like, just do your job," or something like that.
Wow.
And we were all like,
Oh.
"Oh no,
Okay,
Calvin!" I
okay.
was like, "She's a five-time former champion. You
Yeah,
you
she's gonna
can't call
whoop
her that."
your ass, man. Come on, Kevin. Don't catch strays for no reason, man. Wow.
Exactly. So I think because of that, there were a couple of like slow counts as well.
Gotcha.
It's
Gotcha.
like,
I
yeah,
love it.
it's a bit of like karma coming
Yeah.
back
Is
in
so
Ah.
this way.
is Divya I mean I know she's now not part of Grapplemax, but is she like based in Singapore or she just travels just for the
Yes.
shows?
So I think what her situation is now, if I'm not wrong, she's mentioned that she's studying in Singapore now, so
Yes.
she should be
Oh,
based in Singapore for the next couple of years. So I feel like she's officially on the Grapplemax roster,
got you.
if
How
I'm not
young
wrong.
is
Yeah.
she though? I mean, is she like still in her early
She's
20s?
yeah, she's definitely like 20s, like mid-20s, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, to be trained by Great Khali because I know they have this one wrestling school there.
Yep.
That is a
Yeah.
big deal in India. So that's a pretty great
Yeah.
clout to have, I guess, in
That
Grapplemax.
yeah, so I think there were also some Instagram reels of
Mm,
her training, like, they released a bit of like their backstage training stuff.
Gotcha.
So I think there was this sequence that she ran with Dave as well, and she looked amazing in it. So I'm very
Awesome.
excited to see her debut. Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, she
Mm.
kind of became part of the story, and
We
so yeah, so Kelvin kind of messed with the wrong referee. And I
yeah.
guess that's why he lost the match as well.
we could
Uh,
be seeing like a new female star in Grapplemax,
I
and a
think
great
so.
way
Yeah.
to debut her as well.
A referee
Yeah,
turned wrestler, huh?
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think Calvin is now, he's really like, it's like he we had this analogy of like, he's the child that you see in public throwing a tantrum, and you're like, oh, this kid is so like badly behaved, like, where are the parents? And then you're looking around for Showtime and it's not there.
Yeah.
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 They're
Do
like,
you,
come
Uh,
get your kid, like,
do you feel like this dynamic work because before this Lady Killer was that arrogant
yeah.
character, playboy character, but it's almost as if now we have like a younger 2.0 version of him showing him up. So how did that
Yeah.
work in the basis of the match?
Yeah, so I think in the match it was really more of like LK trying to teach him a lesson and be
Mm-hmm.
like, no, like, you should not be doing this, you should do this instead, like,
Yeah.
like, stop paying attention to people, like, focus on the match, like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna whoop your ass, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think there were a few elements of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Calvin is a very big heel already. Like, I think he is just pissed off everyone. So I don't know if that is like a little bit distracting at this point, because I think there were I think my only issue with this match is I definitely enjoy seeing the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I am huge fans of both of them. I love them both, but I think there was a bit more of a story to tell between LK and Calvin. And maybe, after all this inglorious Showtime thing is over, maybe that's something that they can explore further down. But I think that there's definitely different levels of storytelling that they could tell a little bit more in this match.
So in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the finish here, does it feel like there's gonna be more, or does it feel like this was like a one-off? Like, oh, okay,
It does feel a little one-off, at least for
okay,
now.
mm.
Yeah, so for now it feels like a little bit of a one-off. I think they're done with LK at this point in time.
Yep.
But I I mean, I think in the future they could still do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Let's move on to I guess this would be the main event of the evening, huh?
No, that was
Yeah.
fast. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
6
Um,
matches, guys.
Yeah, it's a tag team match, Inglorious versus Aussie.
Yes.
So it's both teams are face teams at this point, right? So that's an interesting.
Well,
Well, I mean,
Well.
Inglorious earlier in the show they came out to make the
Yeah.
save
let's
too.
say
So
75% of this match was all faces.
Oh shit. Okay.
seven.
Can
Oh,
you,
seven. Okay.
okay,
75.
can you explain to me like the logic of making this tag team the main event? Because I mean, it's to me lah, because I don't understand context. This feels very random for this to be the main event. Why do you think the Grapplemax made this the main event match?
Because Michael had to go off early. What remember?
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
that one not the kayfabe reason. I want to understand the kayfabe reason.
Yeah. No, so I think so this was really like there were a lot of tag team matches tonight, and I think it was
yeah.
really just to showcase the tag teams.
Mm.
So I think the two teams with probably the more compelling storylines moving forward that they could actually set up for the next show would have been these two. Because I think
Gotcha.
for us, like Aussie, they're really an established team, and
Yeah.
I think when the tag team titles were announced as well, it was like, oh, they're kind of a shoe-in to win. I mean, they're favorites because they've been a team for so long, and they actually work really well together.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
or at least they used to work really well together until last night. But yeah, so I think that's just probably why. So it probably was just more for their setup.
So, okay, what you're referring to is the setup of Sean and YC, because this is something that has been boiling for several events already, right? Where Sean and YC are going off doing their separate things, and okay, talk to us about that dynamic now, Sean and YC, and who was the one to start showing the cracks?
Yeah. So Sean has gotten a little bit in his own world lately.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's kind of he's kind of doing things his way. And he is just focused on what he needs to do to win the match, and he wants things to go he wants YC to do what he wants him to do.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of things of even in the entrance itself when Aussie came out. So usually they do this they bump arms and then they go into their pose.
Yeah.
And Sean was just doing his own pose, and YC was like, yeah. So even at the entrance already, you could see they're not quite communicating, and YC doesn't really kind of get what's happening with Sean.
Yeah.
Or you feel like Sean is not really listening to him.
I like that kind of subtlety, by the way, in
Yeah,
storytelling. Yeah.
I know in the previous show, was it Sean that walked away from YC when they lost? Like there was a and ever since YC came back, now married man, different dynamic. Sean have had to do things alone for quite a while.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a bit of resentment there?
Yeah, I think, he probably was like, oh, this dude got married, and then now he's with his wife. He don't want to care about me anymore.
The
marriages
jilted
ruin
friend.
friendships. So.
Oh dear. Okay.
Is
That's
it
very interesting?
because you have a similar story playing out, right, in Dave and Ban, kind of one guy wants to do it his way, the other guy. It's similar but different. Does it feel
Different
that way?
outcomes. Different outcomes, right?
Different outcomes. Yeah, it's similar. I guess the only reason why it would be similar is because you have one person who's trying to take control of the entire team.
Yeah.
But it's different because I don't think Sean realizes what he is.
Okay.
Yeah, so it feels a lot weird way to praise it, but it feels a lot more like gaslighting. With Sean rather than with Dave. With Dave, it's really hey, it's very
Obvious.
dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very weird way to describe relationships, but yeah, it's a very dominant relationship. And then with Sean, with Aussie, it's a little bit more of oh, I'm trying to gaslight. It feels, because even in the promo, it was very toxic positivity. It was oh, we'll be fine, and then they were not.
Right. Actually, now that I think about it, right, there are 3 quote unquote tag teams with drama right now. There's
Simon Lavin.
Simon and Lavin as well. So I'm okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Going into the whole tag team tournament thing as well. But okay, let's focus on this match. Talk to us about this match. The outcome was an interesting outcome.
Yeah, it was interesting. So there were definitely a couple of moments where you could see Sean getting a little bit meaner. I think at some point he also told YC, you know what, just just keep quiet, listen to me, or something like that. Like he was
Yeah.
like really just trying to shut him down. And then YC was just like, why? Like YC had this hurt look on his face, and I'm like, oh, poor
Did,
thing.
so, at what point did Julian and Prabhu get involved in the main event?
Yeah, so Remus had a moonsault on Sean because YC was on the floor outside the ring next to us. So Remus did a moonsault on Sean, and just as he was about to like put his arm over and pin, that's when Julian and Prabhu came down and they started smacking everybody.
So it was a non-contest lah. No contest,
Yeah,
sorry.
so no contest. Yeah.
Did the event end on sort of this like, cluster F of a thing? How did that feel?
Yes.
So there was like no finality. Like usually, you go home happy, oh, the good guys win, whatever. This one was more of a like, oh shit, it's just chaos. Is it?
Yeah, I think okay, at least for me it didn't feel too weird because I kind of figured that this would happen, especially after Inglorious made the save earlier on in the night. I was like, okay, so we're probably gonna have this sort of ending.
Yeah.
Because it's been building to that for weeks already, and they kind of already hinted that something's gonna happen at Fight Club. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured that there would be some interference. So it didn't feel too off-brand for me. Like it did feel a bit like, oh, because they have so many events coming. So I think it was also just like, yeah, it's a good way to build tension as
Yeah.
well.
It's the setup for the Fight Club lah, which is, Inglorious versus Showtime.
Yeah. So I mean, because like Showtime came down. So Prabhu and Julian actually came down and they because Ned was the referee, so they threw Ned out of the ring and then they started beating down on Greg and Remus. So of course Hotshot comes from the back to make the save. So there was like a split second of like, hey, maybe things are going to be okay. And then Calvin comes in, of course. Calvin comes in and then he sort of evened things up a bit. And then they all got attacked. And then they picked Greg up to do like the shield powerbomb thing where they lift him up and slam him down. And then they all posed over Greg, which was a bit like, oh no.
Nice. Then while all this was going on, what happened to Sean and YC? Did they just disappear or did they have their own thing also?
Sean just left.
Okay.
Sean just like he was out of the ring and he was like, okay.
Yeah,
and then
whatever.
And YC was still lying down beside me. So I was
Oh,
like,
poor guy.
your partner's here. So he
Aiyo.
basically left his partner behind and just like, ran away, kind of.
Gotcha. Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad.
Yeah,
to
so that was a bit sad.
hear.
So, I mean, obviously, we have a very interesting setup to what's going to happen to this tag team. Is it going to continue like that? So that's where they're going with it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, actually, I was talking to Saleh about this as well. Like, I think one of our hopes was that, if Aussie implodes enough before the tag team tournament, we were kind of hoping that they would like split before that and then just have the match against each other. So that they get kicked out of the tournament and Simon and Davin get included.
Okay.
So I was kind of hoping that would happen, but then like it didn't. So now I guess now it looks like maybe Aussie is gonna stay in.
Isn't it a shame though? Like because they really literally established themselves as like one of the only tag teams in Grapplemax at that point in time. Or we at least recognize them as the tag team in Grapplemax, and for them to not even have a chance to be in the tournament or win it, despite their issues, I think it's such a waste lah, in my opinion.
Well, I mean,
that would be the more drama.
Yeah, I know that's exactly it, right? Let them cook. Maybe they don't turn. Maybe they do turn. Now we have something to, try to speculate. Oh, will they like break up? Maybe they'll just get back together, win the title, and then somebody turns. So there are 1,000,001 ways this can play out, right?
Could you imagine if they break up now and then they miss the chance to be like the first tag team title winners?
Yeah.
But can you imagine like if after that they kind of slowly find their friendship and get back together?
Sure.
And then they win the title again, like maybe a year down the road even. That would be like a really sweet moment as well.
Long-term storytelling, you guys.
Yeah.
There's this one more there's one more loose end that we haven't tied up. You said this one veteran from that previous match, you gave them a certain star rating because of what they did. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, did we forget to talk about that?
We completely skim over it after the fact.
Yeah, so that was at the end of the Dave and Bun match. So so after Bun, it hit Christian and then Dave was gonna actually continue on the attack. So that's when this person, Big D, of course, he actually came down and made the save, and then he put out a challenge as well.
I see. So we're seeing D versus Dave?
I assume it's going to be D versus Dave.
Is it
might be a tag match of like
Mm.
D and Joseph versus Dave and Bun, but
So
could just be D and Dave.
Gout versus Dave and But where is this? Like, did they state, Fight Club or
I
the
don't
next
think this
Amplify?
is officially announced yet,
Okay.
but I
Gotcha.
guess maybe Fight Club.
Okay, cool. So overall, tell us overall if you could grade or rate this night, like how would you compare it to like the other shows that you've seen from Grapplemax this year?
I think this was a good match. I guess I'm still sort of reeling from the previous Amplify, so that still kind of rates quite highly on my list because I think everything that night sort of led up to that 6-man main tag match.
Yeah.
So I think that was a perfectly executed night. I think this would actually be pretty high up as well, maybe in my top 5 shows for them, because I think there were a lot of like little twists and turns that we keep seeing coming.
Gotcha. I felt like, from based on what I heard as well, like last Amplify had like a better flow, maybe in the way it led up to the main event. And while this might be a logistical issue or admin issue or whatnot, I am curious I am starting to observe Grapplemax trying to have more tag team matches, introducing more tag teams. And of course, this is build up towards the tag team tournament itself. So probably that's what Grapplemax is trying to do, getting more focus on the tag team scene.
I think it's interesting because for Grapplemax, it's very easy to get invested in them because they're very future facing. So
Gotcha.
there's a lot of moments that the crowd in that show can enjoy, but there's also a lot of things that, so that is setting up for the future, and they have they always have one eye on like all their future shows coming up as well.
That's great. Yeah.
It's the spreadsheet. Remember last time we talked to Dave, we talked to Greg. They have a spreadsheet somewhere with, all the long-term storytelling.
I see. Who were your MVPs of the night, in your opinion?
I don't know because like I think they all did really well.
I see.
Well, I mean, if you go to our Patreon and see who had the highest stars, those would be the MVPs, would they not?
Yeah. I think like you can see it. My ratings kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, go subscribe to the Patreon if you want to know who my MVPs are.
Oh,
there you go.
Thank
you, Dave. I mean, it sounds like we missed a hell of a banger of a show.
Yeah.
But then again, all the shows have been incredible as of late. But thank you so very much, Dave, for being the representative of Kick to the Gut there. We appreciate not just this, but also the year. Oh my God, it's been years of support. Thank you so very much.
Wow, yeah. It's been a while.
It has been a while. But you know what's the best thing is, like, I think wrestling is just beginning to be more fun again. Like,
yes.
It's not, so whatever we've done, right, it's just the prologue. I really think we're gonna, expect whether it's WWE or local wrestling. So yeah, I'm so happy that we are all on this journey together. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so they do have quite a lot of shows coming up. So I think they have May 25th is Fight Club, which starts at 10:30 p.m. By the way, guys.
Where is it? Where is it?
Projected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, but why is it so late?
I
Is that
don't
a
know.
clubbing thing? Is that
Yeah,
why?
it's like a late night show thing. Like,
Oh man.
Apparently it's like after some, I don't know, I guess they have movie timings. I don't know. I've never been to Projector before, but like,
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Projector.
Wait,
does
where
movie
is
timing.
Projector? Is that in Sydney?
yeah, I think it's Cine now.
Oh.
Yeah, they have.
You remember? This is so random. I passed by Cine last night, but do you remember when Cine was the hot place for all the kids to go? And then now Cine damn lame.
Bro,
Nobody goes there.
Scape, Cathay Cine was like the coolest thing to hang out in.
Bro,
Yeah.
Pasta Mania and watching movie, bro. That was the combo as kids.
Such a shame. Yeah, I remember I watched the first Avengers there on Cathay.
Bro, I watched Titanic in Cathay. I remember. Okay? Because I was
What?
like, I watched with this girl I like, so I remember. It's core memory. Long time ago.
I see you, Mr. Young. I see you.
Long time ago.
Okay, really cool. Okay, so Projector on the 25th. So, Mr. Young, are you gonna come through on that day?
Yeah, you know what? I definitely want to check it out. But let's see, 25th. Wait, no, I'm looking at April, sorry, huh? Should be fine.
so
Actually, we can do
Saturday.
it. Yes, it's a Saturday. We should be
Okay.
able to do it.
Young, I want you to take the lead on this because unfortunately I'm in Europe by the
Oh,
week.
you're in Europe. Okay, I'll be there. This is after the Vesak Day week, so yes, I will be. I should
I'm
be
flying
there.
off on
Yeah.
Visa Day. So
Ah.
I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys think. Hey, you know what? If you
Nice.
want me to do a podcast from Liverpool, I don't mind, yeah. I'll bring all my stuff. So
Liverpool, really?
Liverpool.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm supposed to go there by right so that to see Klopp's farewell, but I don't think it's going that well, lah. So it's gonna be. We're gonna go there and
Yeah.
just experience a somber funeral.
It's okay. Like third place is still, not that bad.
Yeah. It's better than whatever Man U and Chelsea is doing, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
So,
I
so-
don't get any of the references. I smile and nod. Dave, thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much for joining us on a
Sorry,
Sunday.
I will also just
Ah.
just want to plug some of their shows. So they have the June 29th and 30th is their Dual
Yes.
Destiny show.
Mhm.
So they have tag team titles, guys. I got like a sneak peek and it's gonna be super shiny.
Awesome. All right.
And they have a show. They're actually going to KL on June 1st.
So that's
they
their
have
in
the
between Causeway Jam.
Revenge of Causeway Jam. Because
Yeah.
remember, at the ending of Causeway Jam, they got beaten up by the Malaysians.
Correct.
So they're gonna go to
Gotcha.
KL and beat up the Malaysians, and I'm going as well. So I'll be there
Wait, are you flying or driving?
flying. Of
Ah.
course.
Wow. Oh my God. So you're gonna be the person on the ground to
Wow.
cover that as well?
Yeah.
Lovely.
I'll send you guys. I mean, they won't qualify for the star ratings there, but I will send you guys a review.
Well, technically, it's their
Singapore-
performances.
Yeah, you look at the Singaporean wrestlers only.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
we'll discuss.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
Yeah.
take this offline.
Yes, as
Yes.
they like to say.
Yeah.
But
So
yes,
much.
So, but also, sorry, one more thing. So remember, I said I had some exciting news about Grapplemax. So there were a couple of things that were announced last night. That's kind of exciting. So Grapplemax is getting their own developmental brand called so they're gonna
Wow.
start a new developmental brand thing called New Wave Evolution, so NWE. So it's basically gonna be it's sort of like a training ground for everyone who's not quite like established as a character or in the main roster yet, because they have a huge main roster now. So they're gonna do the Grade 1 graduation matches and things like that. So this is gonna be separate from the existing Grapplemax shows.
wow, very
So with this,
interesting.
they will hold shows for this NWE?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
okay.
they will have their
So
own
this is
separate shows of it.
literally their own developmental, their own NXT lah.
That's
Yeah.
actually very exciting. Very
It's gonna
interesting,
be
yeah.
really exciting and interesting.
Got you.
Yeah.
So they're gonna create their own pipeline to kind of like make these new wrestlers a bit more seasoned before
Yeah.
putting them out on the Grapplemax main shows, yeah?
I'm actually, and at some point we need to chat with Greg or Dave or one of those guys about this, because I'm actually like, wow, okay, so it means that the number of young wrestlers, new wrestlers that they have is enough to support such a system lah. So I'm like, okay, that means they've grown now.
Awesome. Do you feel also, Bimi, because I think there's only so many times they can disguise a storyline match into a Grade 1 match.
Yeah.
They need to just kind of put it out there. It's like, okay, you know what? Grade 1 match, not storyline related. Let's do it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they used to have like those Grade 1 matches that will just exist as Grade 1 matches, and
Correct.
it's not like canon at all. But now
Yeah.
because everything Grapplemax does is canon, so they need to find a space to have these matches in like a
Yes.
safe environment, not have too
Yeah.
much pressure on the young boys.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And I foresee these NWE matches will also have like some of the veterans come in to do the Grade 1 matches for them, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting to see how that pans out and how that works out for them.
All right.
It's
I'm
gonna be
curious.
underground.
It's a
Any-
great time to be a wrestling fan. Yes, go
It
ahead.
is absolutely a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Nice. And any announcement on like whether there's gonna be an NWE show anytime soon or not yet?
I don't think the exact dates are announced yet.
Okay.
So we still
Gotcha.
have a bit more. But it's just the announcement that there is going to be a program. I think they already have their own official Instagram account. So
Wow,
that's gonna
okay.
it's all set up already. So we'll just wait for them to announce the dates.
All right, time to follow them on Instagram. Okay,
Wait,
cool,
hang
cool,
on.
cool.
Did you just break the news? Have they announced this
Yes.
on their social media?
Technically, Greg broke the news last night in his post-show speech thing.
Okay. But you have broken the news right here on the podcast.
Yeah.
I hope I did you proud, Greg.
Oh, you
Well, that-
absolutely did.
so that-
I'm looking at their stuff right now.
Okay, as long as Greg give you permission to say it, and I
Yeah.
think we are fine. Okay,
Yeah.
bro. I literally Google NWE. Come on, the #1 global Afro media for African and Black culture.
Okay, you're searching the wrong thing, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I found them on Instagram already. So yeah, they're very much just set up the account and everything. So it's
Gotcha.
So they've not set up yet.
Interesting times.
We'll wait for them to sort of announce it, but I guess then you would have a conversation of how it affects ratings and things like that as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So but because it's really interesting that they're trying to redefine what it means to be a pro wrestler in Singapore and like give people the avenue to try out pro wrestling as well. So Greg also mentioned that there is a new sort of sign-up scheme that he's trying to introduce called white collar wrestling, if I'm not wrong.
Like white collar boxing lah.
Exactly. So like white collar boxing. So it's giving people so they have a series of programs, a series of classes. So they have wrestling classes, a promo class, and acting a promo class, and I think sort of like a training session or a wrestling match. So it's really giving the person that experience of, building up
wrestling.
to try out your dream once. Because I think a lot of people, maybe they're not willing to, or maybe they're not ready to sort of commit to being a pro wrestler, half time, and because no one does it full time. So it gives people who want to try it, they give you the skills to try it, have that like at least one match. So it's a new scheme that's coming up.
Is this Greg's long-term way of just trying to get me to wrestle again?
Okay, it's not
a long-term way of getting Mr. Young back.
No.
Yeah.
Not everything is about you, Foreign. It's for everybody who wants to.
No, it's not. But everyone else, that every time I go there, they keep saying otherwise. They keep saying, "Fine, when you gonna coming back? When you coming?" I'm like,
no time,
even until they need to get Ships Ahoy to start beef with me just to get me back,
Hey, you started it with Ships Ahoy.
Well, not really. It's just because
we didn't even mention.
We forgot.
Yeah. Let's not get into that and start the whole thing again.
Let's not get technical on this, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you might have someone going into that scheme soon if he does it.
Who? He is he.
Yeah. Let me put the pressure on your intern. Like, Saleh, go be a wrestler. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Hey,
to be honest,
I'm breaking like telling everybody's dreams today.
Yeah. Hey,
this is better than Dave Meltzer, man. This is like sharing all the breaking news.
He needs to wrestle with his backpack on. That's all I have to say. He can be the backpack boy.
It'll be his Showtime has their bag. He has his tote bag, just like smack people with it.
Exactly. No, his backpack, and then actually inside got one brick man.
Nice. You know what? I think this is his generation. This is his time to shine. If Saleh wants to go into it, we will support him 100%.
We will give him our full blessings. Of course, we would. Like proud parents.
I think everyone who becomes like affiliated to the podcast needs to get involved in wrestling at least one time, like just to do something related to wrestling.
Even if it's just taking a spear.
Yes. That's your contribution to the local wrestling scene, Mr. Young.
The worst spear ever taken in history. But
it's been like immortalized.
Yes, unfortunately. But once again, yes, Steve, appreciate you spending time with us on a weekend, especially on a Sunday. We'll let you get back to what you need to do, but we absolutely appreciate not just this, but the support that you've given us for the past couple of years. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. So subscribe to their Patreon, and also I'm wearing the shirt. Hang on, let me just.
She's wearing the Grapplemax.
The new one. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. That's promotion right there.
I have to say, Div is like the
just
perfect.
Promoting everybody.
Yeah, she's the perfect wrestling fan. She's just like spent the last 5 minutes promoting Grapplemax. I think Greg somewhere is like, yeah. Did Greg pay you anything?
No.
You see, this is the beauty of a fan, like a true fan like Div. She's representing it on all fronts.
You know what? I think this year Kick to the Gut Awards, we know who is our KTTG. Early contender.
Don't spoil, bro. Why you spoil so early? It's only.
People will forget in 6 months. Don't worry.
Don't like this.
Yeah. But thank you so much. I think we will definitely follow up with whatever we need to follow up with Grapplemax, and we really can't wait to see you on the next show and catch up in person again.